Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Challenger. It is the summer of 2023. I'm Atlas. This is Chronicler. We're in a spaceship, and we're ready to bring you some Challenger LCK. It is going to be absolutely extraordinary. I think the video games should be of a much higher level than what you would see in your solo queue games generally. And I think that your games are probably extraordinarily good. And so therefore, I don't think any of us are prepared for the level of video gaming that we're going to see here today.
Thank you, Captain Anderson. And I agree wholeheartedly. We are going to see only top-notch League of Legends here today, because that's why you watch Challengers. It's to see flawless gameplay. No faults, no errors, no flips, only the purest of meta. No silly diversions here. Absolutely not. Straight-laced casting as well. To the point.
That
Strictly
is why,
business.
That's why I hired you as my co-captain. It is so that you could deliver just straight facts like you're seeing right here. And we also have the best teams in order to demonstrate this as well. 4 teams will be making their way out onto the Rift here today. 2 of them in our first series. Yes. 2 whole teams.
2 teams.
Will be playing.
Not 1. Not 3.
One of them is a team that may have played Lee Sin in the bottom lane alongside his center. Crushing the hopes, the dreams, the ankles, and the elbows of Azeri, which I think all of us just really needed in our lives. You know, that level of
cathartic.
Catharsis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was going right to where you were heading as well. Beautiful. And today, will we see more of that? Or will Career and Plata become part of what they have vowed to destroy? We don't know yet. We'll see. That's what happened last time.
Yep. We have a very important question. Off Corsa has thrown out the question of why is Atlas spelt incorrectly a caster, but Chronicler is a commentator. Now this is interesting because in English we call it play-by-play and color, and in Korea they call it commentator and caster. A caster is a play-by-play and a commentator is a color, but they're both commentators and they're both casters.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
Same thing.
It's just a translation situation. And that's just how it goes. Let's have a look at the standings here. No, like D+ Gear just haven't lost a game.
Not one.
No, not one. Yeah.
They are really good and have been for a while, so this should not come as a shock. And if those players, at least the top half, is not in the LCK next split, I will be very, 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 very,
or just
very
next
sad.
Round.
Also
next
fine.
Round sounds fine.
Call them up. Bring the boys in.
There's one call-up that we're waiting for. There's a couple that are a hard sell. There's one that we've already seen is impossible, and another one that is kind of irrelevant. So we'll just see whether D+ Gear can tick off any of those boxes, as crazy as they may be. The most insane thing about this, by the way, is that Gen.G's second.
And we all know why.
How do they do it without Quid?
It's the return of Ophelia. It's the hair, it's the man, it's the myth. And actually, as we saw in the clip earlier, I do think Ophelia, having gone to I think it was the LLA, pretty sure, and then coming back, comes with a breadth of experience. And it's something that in Challengers is very valuable. Now, Liv Sandbox, unfortunately, themselves have not necessarily been on the upswing. This is a team that has been straight up pulled up from Academy, and we expected them to struggle in spring, but thus far in summer we're not really seeing any great movement upwards, whereas DRX, we were clear gone, Peach gone, this new guy, Career, and as it turns out, Frog's a baller, Sponge is a legend, and Career might be one of the most exciting supports that we have in Challengers. So that team still doing amazing, currently in 3rd place, and expected to be the heavy favorite going into today as well.
Very excited to see what DRX is going to pull out for us. Of course, do have some very fun picks coming up, especially of that bottom lane. And I haven't had a chance to really commentate a proper career game, I haven't had a proper career game yet.
Not yet.
I was just sitting at home playing Diablo and watching it last time it happened.
Is, to be fair, a great way to experience Challengers.
It is the best way.
It's up there.
Yeah. It's certainly
the best
like
ways
if there. Well, I mean, true, absolutely. The best way is to be here in this spaceship, piloting our way through this glorious thing that is LCK Challenger. But if there's ever a resident for your second monitor, or for half of your main monitor if you do not have two, it is certainly challenging.
I'm a one monitor kind of guy. It's tough.
Wow.
Yeah, life is tough.
I've got a monitor sitting in my cupboard. Do you want it?
I might take you up on that then.
Yeah.
Next time I come over,
you're welcome.
play board games.
You know, I just...
It's just I don't know why.
Yeah.
I do know why. I had another monitor, but it was yoinked, and it's now put in something called the principal's office.
Okay, now it makes sense. Now
it
it
was
makes
a second
sense.
monitor.
All right.
But it has been acquired by my significant other.
General Tamara has taken that one.
She has. Yeah.
And we only pilot the ships. She's the one that owns the fleet. So that's how it works. Let's have a look at the DRX roster here as Frog, Sponge, Satab, Pleta, and Career. Career, of course, the only one that we really want to talk about it when it comes to play. Frog, the only one we want to talk about when it comes to names. That's how it goes.
It's wild to outdo a player called Sponge when it comes to names, but Frog has somehow found a way. In Career, we have been so impressed. This is a kid that from the get-go was like, I'm going to Challengers and I'm going to dunk on people. I'm coming to let everyone see that I'm the guy. I'm going to be that guy that's going to stomp everyone. I'm going to be a big talent. And thus far, in support role where it's hard to actually show that, he's been doing so.
And do you know who's not that guy? It's us. Because Hitomi is saying hello to the commentators that are not us. I'm sure Wolf and Valdez, if you are in the chat, just make sure that you say hi to Hitomi.
It is a great, nicely crafted message.
It is a beautiful message. So I did really want to, like, it's got a lot of anime going on, and that's cool, you know? I think that's what the kids say. I'm pretty sure. Hitomi's done it almost every single time.
It's fine.
I feel like it might be your thing from now on. So I think you should just now say hello to whoever's not here.
Every day, yeah. I feel
Or
like
just say
that's
hello to
perfect.
Orcs every day, hoping that he might actually turn up. As key position, going to be Diablo here for Live Sandbox. I think that his performance has improved, but there are certain things that probably could be improved beyond that, like potentially his kill deaths and assists ratio.
Yeah, 2 as an AD carry is not good.
No.
And of course, this is coming from a team that has struggled to win at all. But what, for me, really is the key issue with Sandbox in particular is that they don't really seem to have an identity. It's something that Guangdong, I think, also really suffers from.
Yep.
Where, like, it's not really clear, like, who's supposed to be the carry on the team. It's coming from an organization like Sandbox has actually had some great players. Photon comes to mind, was on this roster way back, was a big carry there, and they haven't been able to find anyone. Great names, as per usual, on a Challengers roster, but the actual gameplay has been somewhat lacking. And
names do generally win a game, though.
Often, yeah.
So that's very important. Dask Naf. Is that how you pronounce that? I gave it a red hot crack. Anyways, asking when the next POG state is. We're going to be filming that one this Sunday.
This Sunday.
So it's generally every 2 weeks. So you'll be able to see that one in about a week from now. In fact, almost exactly a week from now, which is kind of cool. Key position on the DRX side of things going to be Satab there in that mid lane. Hasn't been able to play Victor this season, because Victor's kind of crap. So this is a bit of a shame. Still, does a lot of damage as a mid laner, and his damage percent out of control. I actually kind of wasn't expecting this, because everybody else on his team is, like, more interesting. And I don't mean that as a slight to Satab.
I agree.
It's that Sponge's name is Sponge, there's a Frog in the top lane, Korea plays Lee Sin on purpose, and Pleto was last season's MVP of the whole league. So Satab's just kind of, like, chilling.
He's kind of there. And I gotta say, I look at his picks and I'm wondering, can it build Static Shiv?
And the answer is yes.
Probably. Yeah, you know, Ryze obviously not gonna feel too amazing about it, but we have seen the
Yundo's
Static
in the
Shiv,
chat. We need to ask Yundo whether Echo is allowed to build Static Shiv here in Challenger. Can Echo build Static Shiv? And if so, was anyone watching Showmaker's stream with Brendan Valdez last night? Because I wasn't actually watching. I was playing Diablo while Brendan was watching.
Well, I don't know how many people in chat will have watched it with Valdez.
Yeah, that's true. So that's why I'm like, I think it's more interesting if I talk about it from the perspective of watching it with Valdez. Because we are into the draft. I did. Yeah. And actually, I watched it from the perspective of Brendan having it up whilst his kitten Bob is playing with the screen that has Showmaker on it.
While they're playing Diablo.
While we're playing Diablo on his other screen.
Yes.
That Bob is also pretty excited about as well because he likes following the mouse around.
Naturally.
Actually, just absolutely
Is
adorable.
A cat.
But anyway, apparently, Static Shiv, you can like infinite range the Static Shiv proc using your E.
Oh, that's
you just dash and then zap something from across the universe. So there we go. Perhaps that could be a thing that would happen. As Melio's banned, the Cat's banned. Love to see that. Nico banned. Cassante going to be the first pick here. Kind of crazy. DRX, they will get their hands on an Aphelios if they would like it. And then maybe, just maybe, that coveted LeBlanc pick that we were talking about.
Oh no.
Oh, I wouldn't go straight for that one. But Frog might just be playing with us, you know? He's a bit of a jokester. Don't do it, guys. I just wouldn't do it.
I get it. You know, it's Zeri. You probably
and it's
so the one issue is that I feel like this also locks you into Lock and Lulu.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be playing into Aphelios Lulu, and I don't think that's going to be a very good time.
I mean, you're still going to be playing into Aphelios something, so it's still not going to be a good time.
But Aphelios Nautilus, I think, is something that you can deal with a little bit more reliably, even though obviously Nautilus sucks. And also it forces Sandbox to knock a Nautilus, otherwise you can ban it. And if you don't have Milio or Yumi or Lulu, I do think a lot of power is gone, and this is probably
double lightning.
This is probably
oh my god! If they have
Static Shiv cannon.
Yeah, but also if they build Static Shiv LeBlanc as well, it's only lightning that they would have locked in.
It's
their top
it's
side.
a lightning comp.
I actually kind of love it. We've got fire on the other side, as Vincenzo will be locking away Annie here for Goody. There's the Aphelios that we were expecting, and
so
not going to be picking away the Lulu, which we find a little bit odd. There is Tristana can also build Static Shiv. So we have 3 champions that can build Static Shiv. DRX actually, like, you thought that you knew what you were talking about, Chronicler. You thought so. And look, I can understand that. You're a color commentator. You like to think that you know things.
However,
you don't actually know anything, because what you're supposed to do is build Static Shiv on everything. And that's precisely what DRX are giving themselves the opportunity to do. And do you know what happens when Zeri presses her ultimate? Do you know what happens?
Yeah, more
she
lightning.
Makes another Static Shiv.
Yeah. No, I know. There is no way that Tristana's building Shiv in this game. Absolutely not.
Bet.
We'll see. I do think, though, Cannon has obviously been something that's been picked into Cassante, although also the other way around, because the Cannon has struggled playing into Cassante in team fights, but the laning phase is great, and I'm excited to see what Frog is going to go for, because as mentioned, I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being a very similar build where the Static Shiv gets picked up to help with some of the issues that Cannon has with clearing waves later in the game. Obviously, if you E into a wave, it's great, but having to actually do that in melee range is not great. Also takes away your escape and engage tools. So what I am wondering is how DRX is going to round out this draft.
Bard, Meep Slap Shiv.
Okay, Meep Slap, and then...
This is a terrible pick.
Because it can't build Shiv?
Yeah, well, I mean, it can. It just isn't good. But maybe you don't need Shiv so much from the jungle.
I feel like DRX won maybe a little bit of front line.
No. It's not about that. You just need more Shivs. And so now they've really disabled the maximum level of Shiv that they can reach with this Kha'Zix pick.
Support here? Do you just go? I guess you just go Lulu.
I think it's probably Cannon support, because you only really need a Shiv. So you just Cannon support, more lightning. Ooh, that's a champion that could build Shiv. Because you get the flay proc, and then you Shiv it on top.
I'm afraid, chat, that Atlas has been irreparably damaged by the amount of static Shiv.
I was shivved by the LCK. Showmaker shivved me. Yeah, I was shivved by him. It's yeah. Astro Nautilus, you're exactly right. And I did dream of Shiv last night. I did.
I did actually have a Diablo dream. That's how much I've been playing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I actually switched from my Flurry build because a Flurry is kind of similar to using a lot of Shivs.
I know we're memeing, but Molecule actually did highlight a specific Pyke mid player that did actually go Shiv. Because then you can clear waves, right, which Pyke can't do. It's not going to be the case here. And DRX have fully lost the plot with this one. This
I think it's Bard.
This
It's
is
gotta be
basically
Bard.
like 0 CC composition. It's all damage. It's all aggro.
There we go, baby.
There is. Oh my god, this is going to be.
Imagine if Goody went second item Lord Doms.
You welcomed us.
Oh.
You welcomed us into a solo queue game, and obviously everyone in chat thought you were just having a giggle. But look, this is a solo queue comp.
No, it's worse. That's the best part. I said that this was going to be better than your solo queue, but actually,
well, the gameplay will be.
It's either going to be better or horrendous.
It is career on Pike.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
There's a lot of
Skewering
skewering and hooking and all sorts of stuff.
Let's start with the sandbox comp, which is great. You know, it lacks a little bit in hard engagement. The pick potential is awesome. You have good safety for your Aphelios. You have a couple of great ways to start team fights with the Annie and the Cassante, who can isolate targets. You can really easily pull trigger and then use the Nocturne to kind of catch your opponent off guard. And I look at the DRX, I'm like, what does it do? Like, it shoves in
it shivs. It shivs, not shoves. It shivs.
It shivs and shoves in every lane, I guess. And then you just out, like, because they...
Just be better, forehead.
I mean, it actually is the composition where, like, if you do get ahead, this game is going to be like 20 minutes. Because everyone on the DRX team will maul every single player on Sandbox. Because you have, again, what I expect to be a shoving bot lane, because the threat of Pike and the fact that Zeri can very reliably shove, and Aphelios isn't power something that can really help him contest very early on. Obviously, Thresh's hook is good, but outside of that, he doesn't offer that much. You have a Tristana, which is going to shove, and then you have Frog, who I assume is going to go Shiv, and also going to be perma shoving. So I guess Sponge is just going to try and kill Vincenzo, and DRX is just going to keep killing Sandbox, and if they don't, I don't know how the comp works.
Yeah, I mean, this either the game is over at 20 minutes and DRX have won, or it's over in like a number that's higher than that and Live Sandbox have won.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah!
It's beautiful. I think we should probably rock out. Welcome, Shivers, to the Rift. Here for game number one. Live Sandbox on our blue side, DRX on the red. DRX with the capability of building probably 5 Shivs
no,
this
not
game.
Satap 2.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. No, he will be that'll be first item Shiv. There is no way that you don't that you're playing Tristana and not going first item Shiv. There's no way.
So obviously, Frog is going Shiv because he picked up Fleet into this matchup, and he has a longsword. So that's a given.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's happening.
Yeah. I don't think Sponge necessarily needs to build it.
Okay, Sponge
but
is
I think
not
you get
building
extra points
Sponge
if you build,
is not
if you build
building
it.
Shiv.
I
Nor
think
is Career.
I mean, Vincenzo should build Shiv. I used to build Shiv. That used to be the build. You go Wriggles, Lantern, IE, Shiv.
On Nocturne?
On Nocturne, yeah.
In which season was it? Season 4?
I think it was season 2.
Wriggles was a little bit later, no? Wasn't it like season 3 or 4?
Wriggles was like OG.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I'm also old.
Wait, what? I think Wriggles was originally in the game.
Was it?
I think so. I think it lasted longer than Heart of Gold, I'll tell you that much.
Oh man, I remember Heart of Gold.
Oh. Philostone, Heart of Gold, Page's Lucky Pick. What was the fourth one? There was a fourth one, wasn't there?
No idea.
Was there a fourth one?
Any sort of the occult enjoyers?
Oh, heck yeah. Dude, do you remember you could play like basic, it's pretty much Ultimate Bravery Akali as, never mind, we got a little bit of an engage here towards the bottom side as Korea just happily piking, having a great time. I say that until he stops having a great time in any way, shape, or form.
This is passive.
I said Philostone, so, Avarice Blade, that's it.
Do want to highlight the Diablo actually going...
Oh, the double hooks, what does it mean?
The flame!
Flashes everywhere, his career is dead! Do you have a plan B for that, DRX?
Career got boomed, man.
He was all over that bottom lane.
So it's a hook for a hook, but then obviously Diablo, and really I was going to talk about the PTA. A lot of extra early game burst is on Vision. So watch this. Plan B gets the hook, and then watch the flay out of the dash that Career attempts, and then he also Plan B flashing to make sure he doesn't get hit by the stun, and is out of range of Plata.
Damn.
Damn, Plan B.
Also, thanks, Sajax. So it must have been Season 3. I apologize. It was not Season 2. It was a long time ago. I was rounding down, you know? You know how these things go.
That's fine.
Wriggles Ezreal was absolutely amazing.
Guys, according to you, is LCK CL level better than LCS? Depending on which team.
Depends who you're watching. If you were watching yesterday in the final series, then absolutely much higher level on one side of the rift. This, I don't know. Like the thing is, like I've never seen a matchup of DRX versus 100 Thieves. You know,
No,
and therefore I think it's impossible to say whether or not they'd be better.
Well, we did just see Career lose level 2.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think LCS probably, as a general rule, drafts better than whatever the heck DRX thought they were doing in this game. You know. Yeah.
My question is real. Well, like I think that D+, for example, is better than.
We were answering seriously.
Yeah, we were. If you have like D+, DRX when they're looking good, which you know, we'll see what happens in this game.
Yep. I think it's impossible to tell. It's like you know, before Worlds, having these people that are saying, "I know that this region is better than this region." It's actually impossible to know.
Yeah.
You can guess, you can have a look at the play, but so much of the play in League of Legends is based on what your opponent is doing.
Makes it really hard to judge. I do think that any good LCS team will have much better macro, though.
Satab just dove in
he's just
to be stunned.
He's just getting him. Yeah, no, I think the macro is obviously where you'd have a really big advantage for like experienced LCS players over what happens in challengers.
I like how he also said you are the best casters all over the world.
Aww.
That's because we're pilots. And we're flying
we're
all
flying
over the world.
in the spaceship.
We're in fact the only pilots / commentators. Like the LEC, they've got, you know, commentators / doctors, but we're commentators / pilots. I think that makes me feel really cool. Yeah. You know? Oh, we can clearly say that, cleanly say that LCS has significantly better macro. CL has significantly better mechanics.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I would say so.
I mean, I did just watch Satab dive on top of an Annie and just take 1 billion damage.
True. No, I'm willing to make that, but given how individual challenger players have performed when they have gone to other leagues, I'm not too afraid about that one. And there's also, like, within challengers are pretty big gaps between teams. So a bottom tier challenger team is going to be very, very different from D+, or I'm not ready to say Gen.G.
No, don't say that.
Like, because
and I'm also not prepared to say Harm Life or KT anymore. Like, there's
DRX probably still, even though obviously this game is.
I think it's DRX and DK. They're the only ones that we're really okay with.
Yeah, I'd agree. And you know, maybe by the end of the season we can make a statement about
Bone Skewer. And Korea's like, I regret it.
Yeah, maybe at the end of the season we can make this statement about Gen.G, but we need more time. I don't trust them yet.
Yep. The quote you remember from us is they're all very good league players, just not very smart.
Which is,
and I think that's true. And there's also like, there's smart in the context of decisions that you'd make in solo queue, and then there's smart in the context of what you do in a pro game, right? And so you just don't learn that much about how professional League of Legends changes by your experience in solo queue.
Aww. OP Banana Hacks, that's a great name. I hope you're having a lovely night as well. That's a wonderful name.
And you know what? That. I wasn't having a lovely night, but now I am.
Oh, I'm right
Thanks to you. Not all about you. Whether I'm having a good day or not generally isn't purely based on
you. Know, it's part of it, but
it's true. I mean, it does play a part, but I wouldn't say that you're entirely to blame.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say it's 40% access to coffee, 30% how the cats are doing, 10% Diablo, and then the rest is a mix-up between...
Depends what relics I got.
Yeah.
In this one.
Yeah.
That is important as well.
Yeah.
Is Drake going to be taken here by Live Sandbox, who right now just cruising towards having a better composition for the entirety of this game. We don't quite have the static shift complete yet for Frog, and maybe that's just going to be it, right? Like, as soon as the static shifts come in, that's when DRX just instantly wins the game. Like, I think perhaps Live Sandbox may also just see the item and just leave. As my phone alarm went off. Why did I have an alarm set for 5:15?
Have you been like, is this a Diablo thing?
No, like why do I have an alarm set? Oh, because this is when I was going to leave.
Oh,
because you and I had dinner last night, and so I had a flash
Sponge?
bear. Paranoia comes out. He's really dead, very very dead. Kind of like just DRX in this game.
So back to dinner.
Yeah, back to dinner. We had a lovely dinner. I went and met my fiance's boss for the first time. He's a Canadian guy. He's really cool. He asked me whether I'd watched Crocodile Dundee, and I said yes.
Good question.
I'm Australian, but I also said that if you want to really understand Australian, then you watch The Castle instead. That's true Australianism. Super good. You know, it teaches you all about the trading post, buying jousting sticks, all sorts of stuff. Seasoning, rissoles.
I'm fairly certain like only half the words you just said are real.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's also one of Eric Bana's first movies, and he plays like a side role. Oh, it's just spectacular. Really good stuff. As the guy from
I've
Better Homes
seen
and Gardens.
Eric Bana in so many things, but I can only he was one of the Hulks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I can only remember him. Oh, Career's dead.
Career may be dead. Yeah.
So, you know how we talked about the DRX comp and like, oh man, what is it gonna do?
I mean, they're going to build shivs and lose. That's what they're going to do. But they're going to have a great time doing it. Look at
Look,
SafeTab
is it
go.
really just that?
Look, he did that before, and the same result happened.
Well, he is getting very fed, and he will have, I guess, an item soon, so that should help. Career, his pike though, does not seem to have had the impact that we were hoping
Angie
for.
Foxtrot had rissoles for dinner. Amazing.
Nice.
Absolutely incredible stuff. In Korea, do you know what rissoles are called? Hamburg steak. Isn't that sad? Rissoles is way more fun to say. Are the casters owned by kangaroos? It's a great question.
We can't comment on that, okay?
But we can't.
Sorry, that's not an appropriate question.
We'll lose
to
our
ask.
jobs or lives.
We cannot confirm
So
nor
no?
deny the existence of the kangaroos that rule the world.
The overlords.
Yeah.
And we know that. We knew that they were eventually going to take over. Right?
Well, I mean, but
Has anyone ever won a fight against a kangaroo?
I don't want to inform chat before the kangaroos decide that it is appropriate.
Oh, that's actually a
Sponge
very
will
good
get
point.
spotted an award here.
If I'm not here tomorrow, you'll know what happened.
Frog. Going in.
Static Shiv, incomplete. Static Shiv, first item for SafeTab, by the way. Color caster.
Actually, yeah, no, he actually got
Analyst.
Me. Oh my god! And everyone is—they're actually all free going Shiv. I thought you were a meme. Like I actually, obviously, like so the canon one, I'm like completely on board with. But like,
He's
why
the
is
only one that hasn't
Blada
finished
building
it yet.
We can still build Trade for Zeri.
No one you can build Shiv. All right, so triple Shiv's done, and now
There's free.
So do you know what happens every single game in the mid game in the LCK or Challenger? What happens? Where do all the players go? Where do they go?
They go and group up.
Yeah. Where are they? Are they generally like around a minion wave? How long do you think that minion wave is going to last when it's getting triple shivved in the face over and over again?
So I assume Blada will still go Triforce. Like I think. I do have to say, as much as I think that this is bad, objectively...
Is this AP Zeri? It's the AP Zeri angle, isn't it?
Oh, God. Well, so this is actually a build that we've seen currently in solo queue, where you go like Shiv and Nashors and Deathcap, and it's not about the W, it actually is just about, you know, killing people with your ultimate,
Yeah.
and then the lightning procs.
Shivan. You guys asking whether Zeri is trolling? This is obviously just the way you play the game now. Can it shiv?
So
It's like, will it blend? Can it shiv?
what is okay? Like again,
Is it in the shop?
So the canon one makes sense. So SafeTab, I assume, is just going to go Shiv, but is then going to build still AD, right? Because you are still Tristana, and I think AP Tristana definitely is not the way to go, and you also don't want to go too heavily into this. Frog is probably going to go... I wonder if we'll go Night Harvester, because Night Harvester is the best way to use Shiv, because the movement speed that Night Harvester gives is really good, right? Because it allows you to stack the Shiv faster, and then also you get the extra damage proc on the entire chain of lightning. So Night Harvester and Shiv just synergize really, really well, but Shiv on Cannon does feel kind of rough.
This comment makes me so happy. Is Car a Shiv champion? No, Patrick. Yes, Patrick. That's a flash. Wow! Sponge does not like Cassante, and I like Sponge.
So, you know what the worst part is? Is that DRX is going to win this game. Like, I'm calling it now. That's
they
that's
hit
what's
their power
going to
spike.
happen.
This is so. When I was commentating with Papa all those years ago, he would say that like the one thing that I could do was talk about power spikes. It was like basically my thing. I would just always talk about power spikes. So when Corki was in meta, Corki was great. Every item he completed, power spike, nailed it. Now this is the most obvious of power spikes, and that is Shiv was purchased. Power spike. It even looks like power. Like if you're playing City Skylines and your city does not have enough power, then you need to fix it. Give them static Shiv. Power spike. Absolutely nailing it. So this is probably the biggest power spike that DRX will ever reach until Kha'Zix and Pyke finish their static Shivs.
I don't know, man. I'm just having a hard time accepting that this is the reality we live in now.
Valdez, I was telling everyone that we were watching Bobby watching Showmaker last night while we were playing Diablo.
Well, actually, we were listening to Atlas talk about listening to you talk about Bobby watching Showmaker.
Yeah.
And now I'm telling that.
Yeah.
And then everyone in chat is listening.
Whoa, how many walls are there?
There's a lot of change.
It's like we broke the fourth, but then we got to the fifth, and we're like, you know what? All I need is a static Shiv, and I can break that wall down. And we got to the sixth wall.
So, DRX are up 2k gold. And it actually is just because
Shiv
of...
diff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. It's a 30 CS lead on top. Obviously, they also got first turret blood, which helps a lot. There are 2 Drakes down.
Oh,
good cancel.
Satab. Has he played Tristan? No, yes. And he's going to be able to get away because he presses the Buster Shot button. And now Daihyuk is going to get punished for going for a great trade and outplaying Satab. It's sometimes how it goes. And in fact, there was a sneeze from Chronicler. That's because he's allergic to Shivs ruining his video game. Oh, it's a shame. However, I'm thriving. I'm having a great time. Will It Shiv is my favorite game. And the fact that the answer is always yes is my favorite part of the game.
Well, it's only 3 out of 5 champions, you know? So it could be worse, is what I tell myself to persevere and hold on.
Yep. Static Shiv is almost a direct synonym for Power Spike. I think it'd have to be like Stationary Spike for it to be a direct synonym, wouldn't it?
You know what my favorite part is about what we are witnessing here, Atlas?
What's that?
If it doesn't get hotfixed, Shiv gets buffed next patch. Shiv is getting buffed.
It's like we haven't had like a good we haven't had a good Atmogs meta for a while though.
I mean, we haven't had like, what is the last time that it was the Gore Drinker meta? Probably.
Yeah, Gore Drinker was Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver was like,
yeah, but that's
when it got first changed.
Way back. But like, I'm talking about.
Is that way back? It feels recent.
Oh, you mean like yeah, but it was still not as like because Gore Drinker.
Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. But like the Gore Drinker was really notable because it was also like every assassin and Graves and everyone was building Gore Drinker all the time.
I feel like, yeah, there was some of those metas though that were actually really fun. I feel like Black Cleaver meta was actually really fun because it brought in a whole lot of champions that we haven't seen that much.
This is, I think, the most like coming out of nowhere and
the most good.
No, I mean I don't want to.
The most pleasing.
I don't want to judge it.
The best for viewership. The deadest Tristana. The hookest Sponge. As the box will be broken there momentarily. Plan B breaks his stopwatch as Diablo comes through. Frog doing God's work here on the bottom side of the map. Just eliminating the demonic minions from the Rift. Look at, he even holds a static Shiv in his hand, Chronicler! Look at it! It's the new static. He has it in his hand!
Double shivving, Atlas!
Oh my goodness. For those of you who are planning on building a static Shiv, the best way to do it is on Kennen. The casters, like Korean casters, just figured that out as well.
They know.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's just the. It's just
the amount of lightning.
This is probably the best day of my life. I think this might just be the best day of my life.
This is it. We've found
I
it.
could. I might be exaggerating, but I'm pretty sure I've never been this.
They're
happy.
gonna hotfix it, right? There's no.
Kapow!
Yeah, chat. Everyone, spam.
You need to get
static,
your cows
kapow,
out there.
static.
Hell yeah.
So there is no way they don't hotfix this. Like this surely.
Well, I mean, there's only 3, so I think actually it's kind of fun.
Yeah, well, if Sandbox clearly had done their homework better, they would have, what, 3 shivs as well? 1 shiv for Nocturne.
Annie should definitely have a shiv.
1 shiv for Annie and 1 shiv for Diablo.
Yeah, the fact that Vincenzo didn't build a shiv is just straight trolling. Just because it does work so well with your passive, you can just clear things so extraordinarily quickly. Just umbrally glaive them. Umbra blades, not glaives. It's different. Vincenzo's really dead. That is going to be the Drake taken as Hook. Going to connect. Good bone skewer there onto Goody as the bear comes down. Doesn't really matter. Look at Frog's ultimate do basically nothing. Auto attack more. He's going to be able to do so. The reset's starting to come forward, and Diablo's like, I've got the good guns, guys. Where are you? And they're like, in the grave.
It still did the most damage.
Heck yeah. That's because he stopped ulting and started autoing. And that's not how that works, because you can do both. But you know what I mean. He wasn't focused on that.
What is really the kicker to me is that obviously like the specific build where you go Shiv with Night Harvester or like an AP build and you kind of abuse the fact that the AP ratio on the item is so nuts. That makes sense to me. But the fact that Satap is also just buying it just for giggles.
He's not building it for giggles, he's Tristana.
You're Tristana, you already have so much built-in wave clear. Your E clears an entire wave.
Yeah. What if it cleared it without having to press E?
Frog actually did end up going you're right, because now he can just use it on the opponent every time.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Frog actually did go for Proto Belt, which I do love. And DRX are really showcasing us the next evolve. Or evolution, I guess is the word. I don't know.
That's why they picked Kha'Zix, because they needed to really drive the point home that this is the evolution of the meta.
I can't believe DRX is going to win with this comp, man. Look at it!
Now, I think like, does anyone want to, like, who was here with me discussing the fact that they were definitely going to build shivs? Because how close are you to Korea? I might need a new co-caster.
With you on 2 out of 3, okay?
I know, but not 3 out of 3,
no,
sorry.
I was wrong. I was wrong, Atlas.
Yeah, so that just might be your career down the toilet.
That's the end of it,
yeah,
me not believing in the shit.
Could be it. Could just be it.
I'm going to appeal to Kangaroo Court, my guy. I'm not letting this one sit.
I've met Astronautilus before. He's pretty nice, somewhat well spoken. So I think he also believed in the Shiv, and therefore I think we're gonna have to invite him over to Korea. That's gonna be fine. We're on 13-11. Yes, indeed.
While I'm right there with you. I'm right here. He's replacing me like that.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I mean, that's the best way to do it. We've got to crowdsource it. Anyway, we do have Live Sandbox now in the river, doing their very best to figure out exactly why they're losing. We could tell them, but it seems they haven't really caught on. As Frog here on the bottom side of the map. Wow, how did he get to this turret so efficiently? As they're teleporting in. All right, Frog, what do you got for us? As Goody proto-belting over. It's a really nice ulti. Frog's really dead, though. As the Baron could get started here. And it is going to. DRX have 0 people who can tank it. They have a lot of electricity that could power it. So maybe it's about employing Baron rather than killing it.
Maybe they can use the electricity to power a mech that they built.
Yeah,
off of
based on Baron.
Found on Summoner's Rift.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, I love that. I haven't done that side quest yet.
Well, no, it's because you need to play Tears of the Kingdom first.
Exazilot's actually kind of correct. Like, they'd actually lose a fight against Baron 1v1 now. Like, team versus Baron.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, eventually you'll be able to get it just with off of Zeri's damage, but the real issue of this obviously is that when it comes to setting up for objectives and just shoving waves in general, it's amazing. But we did actually see like Frog's roll damage is definitely worse. He's very accelerated, so it's not going to matter that much, but
would he be accelerated if he didn't build a shiv?
Well, that's the point, right? Like, so like I feel like the trade-off is still fine, but I also think it's important to talk about the fact that as broken as this is, I'm genuinely like interested to see how DRX is going to play around some of the apparent weaknesses, and maybe they just don't matter because again,
they're
having
also
every
better
wave
players.
shoved, they are also, yeah. And every wave shoved in Kuruma is so incredibly toxic to deal with. But they don't have a tank. So
yeah, no, the whole composition doesn't really work, as it turns out. Their best tank is,
well,
speaking of dead, Diablo going to pick up that kill very comfortably.
Coming into today, we were talking about Diablo and him needing to step up. Man has been gaining.
I mean, he's stepping up. He's been listening.
Yeah.
There we go. I
And
left my
that's the
coffee in
jungler
the other
gone.
room. This one's finished. Okay. Anyway, Liv Sandbox is going to be starting off the Baron here as Frog on vision. Tab as well. Daihyuk was looking around for him. Does manage to find the guy. As all right, let's see what can happen. Sponge still dead as they're looking for the turn. Frog gets a good amount of damage onto Vincenzo, and that's the jungler dead. The Annie's also going to go down. Everyone's just getting zapped to death. Tab blows up the Aphelios. We're sorry for caster cursing you there, Diablo. And DRX are going to now go into the biggest battle, and that is trying to face down this Baron alone.
What? I don't think they can.
Yeah,
no, this should be fine. It's half health, right?
Sponge, please. Some help, sir? There we go.
So, this is a 4 versus 5, but crucially, Plata is relatively unmatched. Frog buys a lot of space. They're still tanking Baron here. And, yeah, hooking
Frog in.
maybe not the way to go, unfortunately. And amidst all of this, there is still a Zeri. And we've been able to ignore the Zeri problem because this game has not been about Plata. But as it turns out, he's just building Bruiser Zeri, but instead of a Runance, he has a Shiv, which, to be frank, thinking about it, seems like just a straight-up upgrade.
Yeah.
It is just better, and it's just the same Zeri build. And but instead of him being level 14 or 13, he's 15. And he has just been able to zoom up all the CS.
Yeah, he did do that. We can see that is also happening for Diablo. He's the one on his team that is ahead when it comes to farm.
Yeah.
We have a 50 CS gap for both solo lanes of DRX. Having a look at the itemization, I would say that is likely due to these static shifts that have been picked up. Sponge is dead again, as he's going to go a little bit invisible for a few moments. Some buttons are going to be pressed. Good times to be had there for the jungler of DRX.
It's not Sponge's day.
Well, yeah, it's not. But he also doesn't have the item.
I knew you were going to go there.
So,
I
mean,
wanted
he
to
knew what was going to
preface
happen. He knew. Sometimes you need to have an example of
This is
the
what happens to
exception
you.
that proves the rule.
Yeah, this is
you
what
know?
happens if you don't shiv.
Yeah, like imagine if I had a Shiv. Like how much I would be like not as dead, you know? Tab just going to come through and show everyone his beautiful Shiv that he has put together for himself. Platter as well. We basically have a rule here in Challenger that we only really put you on the camera if there is someone with a Shiv in the shot. And that's why we need to make sure that Tab was in that picture. Here we're watching Platter farm for no reason. Had a Shiv. Ooh, rocket jump almost got him out of the picture there. Broke our own rules as I was talking about them. We're gonna have to pan away. You're gonna have to pan.
Yundo,
Gonna need to pan.
come on,
Yundo,
man. Get it together.
there we go.
There we
Oh,
go.
thank
Cool.
goodness.
2. We're offsetting. We need to hit an average of 1.5. It's actually the quota.
Yeah. Now, Cookie Ninja has a really, really good question, and this is something that I want to pose to you, Chronicle.
Okay.
Because I think it's kind of unacceptable, to be perfectly honest. Why isn't Korea and Sponge buying? Or why aren't they?
Do we want a genuine answer or do we want memes? Because I can do both, but I need to know.
Well, I think a
can't
genuine
do-
answer would be a meme at this point.
So in case of Sponge, as Kazakhs, you don't need to wave clear because
It's so hard reading Twitch chat and not just losing your mind at the same time.
So as I was saying, being Kazakhs, the attack speed doesn't really do anything for you. You would much rather have the role of Lethality, and because you are a jungler, you're not going to be clearing waves. so the extra proc doesn't really help you as much because you're able to go for your camps very quickly anyway. And again, autoing as Kha'Zix is not really something that we're going to be super happy about. So
You do need to do at least a auto.
well, you definitely auto, but it's like you don't need attack speed, right? You weave autos while you Q, but Q is the real point, and the rest of the items that he's bought all give him either sticking power or more threat through Vision Denial or immunity from spells.
Yep.
And in case of career, I actually think he could have bought it. I think the only reason why he didn't is because he's not playing the solo lane. So
Yeah, just
he'd
probably
rather go
couldn't
for the
afford
utility. But there is actually like I said before, there is a Pyke player that just builds static shiv, plays Pyke mid, and uses it to
That's the wave
circumvent the fact that you, because if you don't remember, Pyke Q used to clear AoE.
Yeah, no, it used to
kill
be amazing.
minions AoE.
Your E used to also. Oh, was it your W?
Yeah.
No,
it was
your W. It's the E's the dash.
No,
right?
E's the dash. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
E's the
the
dash.
used
So
to
your
be-
E used to like
Yes.
just clean up waves. You'd build, what was it, like Tiamat, and then you could insta clear any wave. Oh my God,
yeah,
that
this was
revolting.
this was in like what 2018,
Yeah.
no 2019 I think, because
It was 2019. It was when
G2
G2 that destroyed everyone.
yeah
with it,
G2 was absolutely fooling people with this.
I do want to give a bit of a shout out to Turdo Gaming, who had the greatest comment that made me lose my mind. So there you go. You just need a shout out. You deserve it.
Nice.
As all right, yeah, played up. Shiving. Frog, shiving. Sponge, not so much. We'd prefer not to talk about him. Korea, would love to, but he's got a Ghost Blade now, so at
I
least
think
has
he's
his mythic put
doing
together.
his team a service, so we'll forgive his lack of shiv.
Yeah, he's providing support for the Shiv holders.
And there's also only 3 lanes, so really 3 shivs might be the optimal number.
I actually think Asante would be a great. You know who would be the best Shiver?
Shyvana?
Gangplank.
Oh,
Shiver me timbers, you know?
yeah, I thought Shyvana for the same reason.
That's why Pyke would be too, because he's got a bit of a pirate vibe. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. Rise, phenomenal Shiver, has a pirate skin. Misfortune.
Isn't there a Shiver Me Timbers fiddle?
Ooh, maybe. Is there? Don't remember.
I feel like there is, but it might be.
Swain's pretty piratey. He's got a parrot.
Yeah.
In one of his. He does it. There is a pirate Swain skin.
Yeah.
So definitely a Shiver. Oh, static Shiver. Amazing. Thank you, Astronautilus.
And also,
oh, man.
to be fair, like it actually would be a really good item to save.
Yeah. No, it's actually it always has.
Hello guys, is this Challenger Series? Yes, Dancing Mom, this is Challenger Series.
Well, actually, it's more like Shiv. This is yeah.
I can't
Shiv
help
series.
but notice that DRX haven't won the game yet, though.
Yeah. I mean,
so what would be more justice? Like if they lose?
well,
somehow?
sometimes you need. What they're doing at the moment is they're protesting against lack of Hextech Soul.
Because you want double lightning.
Yeah,
well,
yeah. Like we saw
in their case,
Showmaker completely abuse.
it would be 4 times the lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of lightning.
Because you have Zeri,
Yep.
and then Cannon, and then Shivs, and then Hextech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that sounds like enough. I think like Nikola Tesla would be okay with that amount of lightning. That's what I would say. Anyway, Goody is waiting in a brush. Sponge going to jump away. Does have his Edge of Night, so he's going to be totally fine.
So they are up 11k gold, and one would expect that that would be enough to end the game.
No.
But
like,
as it
you
turns
need
out,
Infernal Soul.
Well, as it turns out, DRX their comp still kind of stinks. So, like,
Oh yeah, it's Bud. It is definitely
it is not
Bud.
good. So
It's-
they can't really do a whole lot unless Sandbox overextends, besides just stack Barons and get Infernal Soul. And by the time they get Infernal Soul, frankly, you can just run.
I mean, it's
in.
actually like the Flame Horizon has happened. It's 110 CS gap in mid.
Yeah.
It's
5K.
5,000 gold ahead. Yeah. Okay. Well, Goody's going to come on over with his light wallet.
They should actually be able to tank if they have 2 people on Nash. Because Sponge will get the passive from his completed smite.
True.
But when...
The problem is that Satab exists in this bottom lane, and oh, was that a flash?
Yeah. Flash from Plata.
Plan B. He's also.
This is actual 1-3-1ing from the Challengers team.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
you
actually
see your
doing
best. You see
into-
the best in Challenger, right? Nongshim showed us.
into a Nocturne, if you don't remember the game that Atlas is referring to, it's probably one of the most iconic
0-7 Jack's performance.
Challenger, yeah. Well, I'd say one of the most iconic Challenger games in general. It's the final game of summer last year.
You naturally won 3-1 with 3 shivs because you need a shiv in each lane. It's absolutely right. It's generally how it goes. Shiving is a lonely activity. Because once you've shivved everyone, there's no one left.
Yeah, there's no point in having multiple shivs.
You can't have too many shivs. Then you need to have a shiv battle.
So this is just our life now. We watch people buy shivs and then they ping pong waves.
Yeah. That's how it goes. We've really taken minions out of the equation. I kind of love that. As maybe didn't need to use the rocket jump there, Satab. I felt it.
Sandbox just keeps clearing as long as you don't get Ash.
Well, I mean, maybe DRX is just okay with that. Maybe they just want 6 items on everyone.
But they shouldn't want that. You can still lose this game if you just go to late game team fights. And
I mean, they should have lost.
Like
this game.
Dayak is going to be really hard to kill, even with your shivs. And your comp is not good. But
well,
Satab,
say that to this dead turret chronicler. Satab just chilling, man. He's level 18. He's drawn the bead.
13k gold up.
What is it with crayon? The picture of a bead that he's just drawn, or is it a beautiful, Da Vinci? Da Vinci?
What are you talking?
He's not even an artist. He was an inventor. Am I okay?
Well?
Was he? Yeah. Oh yeah, he did a bit of both.
He was a Renaissance man.
Oh yeah, he just did everything. He did all of the things that were cool. Oh yeah, Da Vinci did a lot of.
Yeah, that's
a
fine.
lot.
But move on. We're shivving.
Yeah, we're shivving.
We're shivving. Okay, 2 inhibs down now.
It's been a while since I've been to Italy. It's okay. Plan B. Going to get a hook down as there is the Baron taken by Liv Sandbox. But can they get out? Can they keep their Nexus alive, I guess, as the all-in does come through. Korea trying to stop some backs here as Dahyuk and Satab still battling one another. Was it going to be that fabled Baron for Nexus trade? The answer is no, as Dahyuk is still coming forward. He's got a lot of mobility, but unfortunately he can't outrun the shiv.
The universe is trying, so like Sandbox with the better draft and no shivs, like the universe is trying to make Sandbox win so badly. But it's not going to happen. They're going to lose. They're 2 inhibs down. Like this composition from DRX is just watch the Baron.
I mean, it was all because Pleta got hooked.
Taken. But like so they get the 2 inhibs, and because of that, this is still a positive trade. That's the part that really gets to me. And you know what? You know that Baron buff. You know how much value you're gonna get out of that into a team with free shivs.
I don't really care. Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
This game is breaking me, Atlas.
Who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
I don't have an opinion. I don't really have a favorite. No, I don't have a favorite one. This is because of the Da Vinci thing, right?
Yeah, no, because I really messed that up. Like, and I just now feel really stupid.
Hey,
I just want to talk about Ninja Turtles. Okay. As Plan B is going to go down. Might have been part of the plan. The Sponge is also going to fall. Tib is now taking a lot of damage here. As Pleta is dead. They've got another backup AD carry. They've got a bunch of shivs still up and available. This is going to mean that the Infernal Soul is now taken away. More bounties now claimed for Liv Sandbox, who now bring it back to 8,000 gold behind with a composition that does things.
I think this might be, this is shaping up to be one of my favorite Challenger games yet, because it makes so little sense on so many levels. It's amazing.
I think in the Ninja Turtles world, Splinter would definitely have a static shift.
He will, yeah. No, he will. So, because DRX don't have a front line and don't have a reliable way of killing Diablo, they can't actually 5v5, so they need the pressure. And so I guess the Baron buff actually does help out a lot. Because the moment that is gone, they're going to lose all the pressure on the map again. But because the Drake is, or the Elder Drake is postponed by like at least 10 more minutes, I don't know how DRX actually, okay, well that would help.
I mean, maybe killing Vincenzo could be the way. That's Paranoia is going to be procced. They do look to dive on top of this Pike, who will die. But is that actually a problem? Because the composition doesn't work as a 5v5. So it has to be about whether Satab can shoot Dahyuk enough times.
This is one. You know how sometimes when something is so bad, your brain is just like doesn't allow you to to accept it, so instead it goes overboard.
You just
I'm now
turned it off. I just turned it
no,
off.
No, I'm now starting to believe that this is actually one of the greatest League of Legends games
Oh, absolutely.
of our times. Because it will answer the age-old question. Can you shiv hard enough to overcome
to outdo
anything?
a good composition? Well, I mean, the real, like, what you need to realize is that they'll go back to the coach's booth after this, and do you know what the coaching staff will say? They will say, Sponge, Korea. Come on, guys.
Get it together.
You had one job. Literally one job.
It's going in!
Yeah, and Cops Bear, as now Satab going to help lock down this kill. There's
like
the
this.
resets.
It can't
And
end like
Plan
this.
B is going to be the first one to fall. Will they
This
be able to grab
can't be
Vincenzo?
it.
Yes, they will. As Satab goes down to his GA. Really nice Moonlight Vigil did come through there from
Look at the
Diablo.
blood wave!
Yeah, I know. This game's over, Chronicler. It has been since the first Shiv was purchased. 6 Drakes have been electrocuted. Well, 3 of them were electrocuted. The other 3 were not.
Is that it?
Some unfortunate dragons there as now Sponge diving on over. Not a lot of help on this Kha'Zix, but it doesn't matter. In fact, Sponge doesn't really matter this game. It's all about these other 3. The Kennen, the Tristana, the Zeri, the Shiv abusers heading towards these Nexus turrets. Satab, oh my goodness, he just explodes. I don't know whether you necessarily needed to throw your life away like that. You're worth more, Satab. You're worth more. You're our key player, for goodness sake. As Live Sandbox, they lose all of their Nexus turrets, but they're not going to lose the actual Nexus. So there you go. There's a ward.
There's a ward.
Ward
And guess what?
existing.
You know, if Frog can TP in with Lichbane, I actually think he can, like, with Shiv and Lichbane, you know how fast that Nexus is gonna go?
Oh no, insta dies. Yeah, 100%. Wait, he doesn't have a Lich.
Oh my god! No, I say he would have to buy it.
Oh right,
But,
so like
it's
sell
what-
all your
yeah,
items
It's part of the
except for
tech,
Shiv.
right? Yeah. So, I can't believe this works. Satab jumps into an Annie.
I mean,
and
he's
it's fine.
got GA, so I guess like he's.
I mean, I guess, but like if his GA gets procced and like he gets 100-0, we still lose the fight. And again, I want to just highlight the fact that Sandbox is not tilted out of their minds and is like holding on in this game.
Wait. You're saying they're not? I mean, they might still be playing the game, but I guarantee they're tilted.
There's another ward.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's another Shiv.
Well, not yet.
Well, yes, there is indeed
This
another
is-
ward. There are a bunch of pings.
I'm glad everyone that is here in chat right now is witnessing history being made.
I know, this is a beautiful time to be
This
alive.
is such a great moment of League of Legends, Atlas.
I think history is being created here in this one game, and we're here for it. In our spaceship, looking down.
Where were you when they shivved
Yeah.
this hard?
Well, I was in a spaceship with you, Chronicle.
Oh my god. They're gonna try. They're gonna try and
Ooh,
end.
Korea
Baron for
gives
Nexus.
away his position.
Baron for Nexus.
Oh, I've seen that one before as Paranoia is going to come forward here. And oh dear, that is a big, scary
cancels the back.
Sponge. Just trying to stop the backs. And yeah, this game is over, ladies and gentlemen. The Baron is going to be taken. Nicely done, Liv Sandbox. Absolutely nailed it. Look at that. 2 Barons in a row. Still lost the game. There we go. DRX, the late game. 41-minute victory. And you know what DRX did? They built Shivs and they won. And do you know what the best part is? It's like a sneaky backdoor victory, and when you've gone triple Shiv, you know, it feels like a dishonest item, you know? And they won the game exactly the way they're supposed to. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
One
Love it when a
of
plan
the
comes together.
greatest games of League of Legends I have ever witnessed, Atlas.
Unbelievable stuff.
It's such a good time. This
Absolutely
was so,
incredible.
This was so fun. And the fact that it ends in the most, like, Baron for Nexus is not quite as challenger as an Elder Flip, but it's number 2. I've seen this happen a million times. Look at that.
And we need to actually get more out of this damage breakdown because we really need to see how much of that was contributed by...
Don't forget to vote, by the way.
Shiv. Oh yes, I'm going to vote for the item static Shiv. I wonder whether we can actually get that one to go through. Satab.
So, I also am a Satab voter.
I mean, it shouldn't be Satab, but it also just doesn't matter. Maybe it's Frog. Frog.
You're going to swap. I like the Frog swap. I think Frog did great.
I think Satab did too many launching himself into the enemy.
I mean, yeah, maybe it's just flat out. Just like I just don't want to vote for Zeri if I can avoid it.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely
So-
not Pleta. Pleta barely existed in that game.
No, I know. But did anyone? The
Oh, well,
shits
Static
did.
Shiv, yeah. If we could vote for an item, we would. But that's just how it goes. I saw a sneaky Wolf in there saying that he's Mental Boom. Don't be Mental Boom, just accept. Just accept this is
our
the
life.
way League
Yeah.
of Legends is now.
So
we have to go with the flow.
and we've had a ton of fun with this game, understandably. I do really want to highlight Diablo, because obviously, right, like given the state of that game, I think joking around was definitely where I wanted to go and where we went. But Diablo on this Aphelios actually delivering really, really big. Wasn't enough to get them to win in the game, but this is a player that, to me, feels like he is the player I'm most excited about on Sandbox. And seeing him have a great performance like this is really cool.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that he didn't
Didn't matter.
have the
Oh,
presence
no.
of mind to build
Didn't matter.
a
Build a Shiv, yeah.
Feels bad. But, you know, sometimes you're the team that does the correct research, understands exactly how the meta is going to unfold over a certain amount of time, and that was DRX here today. They built what we thought looked on paper like a terrible draft, and you know what? It was.
And you
Could
knew.
they build more Shivs? Yes. It is going to be Satab that picks up the POG.
Delta Tower.
Damage Delta Tower, 169.20. Nice. 426. Would have been better if he didn't get any assists, because then it would have been the most Static Shiv victory POG we've ever seen.
Excuse you, it's Delta Tower.
Dealt to Tower, yes. Yeah.
You said damage Delta Tower. This wouldn't be.
Sorry,
It's
yeah, no,
Delta
it was
Tower.
just Delta Tower. He was rolling dice at the tower. He was giving cards to the tower. Yeah, something like
He's
that.
a dealer of damage
He
and
is.
a dealer of shivs. And Satab did have some great side lane pressure in this one.
Oh, he did, absolutely. The Cassante, obviously a way more broken champion than Tristana, but wasn't able to build Static Shiv, so actually kind of terrible. Needs a buff in the next patch, I would say. Poor little Cassante, really having a struggle there trying to stand up to the power
You know what
of
I
this,
think?
Tristana.
They should introduce a tiny Baron that sits next to Baron so you can actually get value out of
Yeah,
your
yeah,
Shiv.
yeah, like little, like
Yeah,
there's all sorts of new
the
ones.
Crux.
Yeah.
You just add like 3 tiny Barons and you can
It
also...
should be an ad fight. There
Yeah.
should actually be like a phase to the Baron fight where he like,
Wouldn't that be cool if like
ads come out?
post like half health, he starts spawning ads and you can shift those as well?
Oh, it'd be amazing. And then AoE-based champions would be really useful around Baron. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Absolutely incredible stuff. We're going to go to a short break, try and find our brains. Pretty sure we won't be able to, but then we'll be back for game number 2. See you there. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Shiv LCK Shiv Challenger Shiv 2023 Shiv Summer. I'm Atlas Shiv. I'm joined by Shivakla. Shivakla? Chronicliv? Shivakla. I think Shivakla is it.
Shivakla.
I don't really want to word fuse it with my name because you get poop, which is not great. Atliv. Atliv works. I need to do it the other way around.
You just use Shivless.
Oh, yeah, Shivless.
Yeah.
But then that would be no Shiv. That wouldn't be good. We don't want to be Shivless.
I guess.
That's what Live Sandbox was last game. And guess what they did? They lost. It's unfortunate, but sometimes if you don't get on board with the Shiv meta, much like Chronicler didn't at the start of game number 1, then you're going to have a bad time.
Never going to let me live that one down, are
Absolutely not. Not until you're out of here.
When Astronautless comes in.
Yep.
You know what? If I get replaced by any of the amazing people in our chat, then that's a fate I'm okay with.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. There's only good people here. There's only good people here. And so now we need to see whether Live Sandbox is going to learn from their mistakes and just pick champions that can build Shiv.
The Shiv obsession is bizarre. The word Shiv was used more than everything else combined. You are right.
Maxon, did you watch the game?
I mean, it might be agreeing with us. Or they might be roasting us, in which case, you don't know our struggle.
No.
Our shivel? I don't know.
And if you were to roast us, I'd recommend using a Shiv in order to do it.
For maximum,
much like it
maximum
roasts
power.
Yeah. Roast minion waves, but also roasts the commentators. And that's precisely what it's done. Staticler and Shivless.
Yeah, this is the real problem, chat. Is that you can ban Zeri, and then she's not in your game. But you can ban Shiv.
You can't, not unless you find the bug. And Showmaker was doing God's work last night on his stream trying to find the bug, and it hasn't worked yet.
They're gonna hotfix it. There is, I have faith.
What are they? Do they just take away the AP ratio? I think that might have been a mistake.
Well, that revert the buff and take away the AP ratio, and you're probably in a much
then you
better
just have
spot.
static shift from
Which is
old.
fine,
and that was a-okay, just fine. Build it on Caitlyn, just an extra wave clear. Love to see it. Anyway, here we are into game number 2. Live Sandbox once again going to be on the blue side, and they're going to ban some champions. Sad. Isn't that sad when you have to ban champions? Oh.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that static shift item to pop. Imagine if you got 2 extra bans and it was for items, though. How cool that would be.
Ooh, yeah, I don't think you can ban items.
Well, no, I know you can't in the current state of the league, but like, imagine.
I just ban boots every game.
And then you lock Cassio and Yumi.
Yeah, and birds. Twin. I know she can still build shoes, but you do your ultimate thing and you fly around. Shoes. Yeah, the best. Oh, ban stopwatch? Imagine
oh my god, they actually banned Cannon.
They did.
I don't think Cannon is the problem.
Cannon and Kha'Zix were the problems.
Well, but now Sandbox knows, so now they can themselves attempt to shiv.
They can. Melio and Yumi, both of them available. Yumi, pretty good shiv abuser.
Will Diablo learn?
Well, so far, he's picked Aphelios. Last time, didn't build Shiv, so this time has an opportunity to build Shiv. Frog, what is going to be your Shiv champ for the top lane? I'd recommend LeBlanc. I think she'd be a fantastic Shiv option.
Did we just ignore LeBlanc last game?
Yeah, we did. Just went all the way through.
Interesting.
It's fine. Frog going to be able to lock away the Zeri once again. Kind of hate it. Still, probably still going to win, especially when Zeri Yumi is available. It does mean that they're just going face first into Aphelios Melio.
Don't play with my heart like that.
Oh, that's a Shiv champion.
Shivana also a Shiv champion. True. You know, Night Harvester on her anyway.
Heck yeah.
You love the attack speed.
That's beautiful. It's going to be Yumi though. Got to lock in that cat. So Yumi can't really build a Shiv.
No.
Let's be honest.
There's limits.
Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame, but it's fine. Melio going to be locked away here in Live Sandbox. I mean, this is a way better bottom lane, right? Than Zeri Yumi in the early game, you have to say. The extra range that you get with the Aphelios, really, really powerful. We have seen it do some good things, although it doesn't win all the time. Sometimes Zeri Yumi just have those moments and they just win. And it makes us all sad, and we're right there with you to be sad about it. And now I think it's just LeBlanc, right? Like, just upgrade that Shiv count. That's what you need to do with Sandbox.
I also
it's prison meta.
I also wonder to what extent the No. No.
I mean, you can still just build Shiv.
You're not building Shiv on any. No, I'm personally
Ooh,
hoping.
that's a Shiv user.
Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, you remember when people were like playing like Ahri top lane? When she first got released, I was watching Chaox's stream and he played Ahri top lane all the time. He'd build attack speed.
Atlas, how long ago was this?
Well, I mean, I can't actually say because I don't remember exactly when it was, and then Sajax will tell me that I'm wrong, okay? And I get worried about that, as Satab is going to build a Shiv. So, like, look at this. We've already doubled it.
So yeah, DRX. So is this how we rate draft now?
How many Shivs?
Yeah. So DRX is,
with the times.
is up 2-1. I don't think Guti's building Shiv.
No, it's even.
Because you think, okay, well, you know what?
I mean,
I was wrong
100%
last time, so
Ahri's
I'm gonna follow.
There's
follow you on
absolutely
this one.
There's absolutely no way. Okay, so DRX, do we ban away like all the really good Shiv users or things that are usable into a Shiv? I think Malphite probably the best into a Shiv because Rock beats Scissors, right? And Scissors are basically
No, but Rock doesn't beat Scissors because Gwen beats Malphite.
No, the Malphite plays is better.
Okay. Well, maybe they should get better at playing rock, paper, scissors then.
100%.
Sponge actually got... Well, and to be fair, there were times where people went Nashers on Elise because she can actually utilize the attack speed pretty well.
Yeah.
So I guess it would stand to reason that you can also go Shiv Elise. So why not take it away? That's not a Shiv user.
Just so you know, Shiv is actually in the shop for every champion.
I know that.
So just to, you said that this can be a Shiv user, blah, blah, blah. Every champion is a Shiv user. Some use it better than others, like Bard, for example, is probably the best. But you know, I'm just saying, like we could have 10 Shivs no matter what.
I need to expand my horizon.
100%. Yeah.
I'm thinking too narrow-mindedly about how to use Shivs.
Yeah. And yeah, Elise Poppy being banned away is a little bit sad. Elise, fantastic Shiver. Renekton, oh man, think about Lightning Croc, amazing stuff. Xante, difficult to build a Shiv, can build a Shiv, no worries. I think he does, right? A frog would build Shiv on
chat,
Sunday.
I'm gonna give you a challenge.
Guess the amount of Shivs?
No, chat, I'm gonna give you a challenge. We are going to cast this game, and I want you all. This is a fun exercise to keep you engaged to the game. I want you to count how many times in this cast, as soon as the game starts to when the Nexus falls, we say the word Shiv.
Not saying it ever again.
You don't want to give chat the satisfaction?
Yep.
You know Kale's gonna build Shiv.
Wait, so that's one.
Oh.
Well,
no, because the game hasn't started yet. I'm like, as soon as the game timer starts. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh,
Chat, you can count that high. Come on, chat. You can do anything you put your mind to.
That's a lightning sort of user. If ever I've seen one. That Jax guy. Love that. What is going to be the jungle choice? Here for DRX. Viego. Ooh, definitely able to build it. Another one that can build
Go Rek'Sai. Come on. Go Rek'Sai. It's so good into Lee. It's so broken on this patch.
Oh, true.
Sponge, you hovered it. You know. Don't Wukong!
Do it, Sponge. Don't be scared. Not Wukong. Wukong's just bad.
Sponge!
It's just actively not good. Okay, there we go. Actively not good. And DRX, they have the buff now of having a bad composition. They are very good at playing with bad compositions.
I mean, I kind of like their comp.
No, that's actually true. But there's just only two. There's only two of the lightning weapons that they can purchase.
I think we're only go. Are you actually? You don't want to give chat the satisfaction?
No, not going to. I'm going to make it very easy to count. Going to be 0. Okay.
You want me to commit as well? We just don't.
No, feel free. But it just means that they only need to focus on you. And I won't. I just won't. I'll just try not to say it. Even though the whole game will only be about it, I'm going to try not to say it. There we go.
Okay.
Instructions unclear. Going to take a drink.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Wish me luck.
Oh no.
Well, thankfully, I just didn't say it in that sentence, so I saved you. Saved you a shot. Maybe like
no, we're still not in game. It's when we get in game. That's when
I know,
you have
but
to stop saying
but
shit.
I need to practice.
Oh, okay. Got to make sense of it.
Yeah, just gonna... so, yeah, Jax, for that top side into the Cassante, feels like a good matchup for Daiha. Once again, Live Sandbox have a really nice composition. I really like the mid-game of Lee Sin Ari. Felios Melio should have the number of Zeri Yumi. But DRX, they're playing Shiv LeBlanc, you know? They're playing Shiv Zeri, and I said it twice, but we're not in the game yet. So don't, Astro Nautilus, you're going to be fine.
So Sandbox, when it comes, we're starting for 0, and we're going to try to stay at 0 as soon as the game starts. I like the Sandbox comp when they can get early in the game leads. They're 1-for-1, insanely strong. Their pick and catch potential and skirmishing with the power and mobility of Lee and Ari translates very well to trying to get your top side ahead. Means that Jax can take over the side lane, does outskill the Cassante in the 1v1, but when it comes to the 5v5, I do think DRX have the better comp. It's going to be up to Sandbox to show that they can actually execute on a comp like this.
And build some lightning sword items. Let's get onto the Rift. Welcome! Shiv, 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 Shivity, Shiv, Shiv, Shiv. Shiv, 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 Shiv. Shiv?
You're the biggest troll. You caught them off guard. You told everyone you weren't going to do it, Atlas.
I actually was. I got called out. There was a dude in chat that knew from the beginning. I was so sad. I'm like, what? Now it just looks like I'm copying guy in chat's idea.
Yeah, I had no idea that you were going to do this. And I should have.
It was Squidazard. Squidazard.
I should have known because this is so you.
I know. It was obviously going to happen.
Well, chat, someone roll it back and get that count going. I'm sure someone in chat, there's like almost 2,000 of you. Someone will be committed enough to go back
I tried to hire Astro Nautilus. Now I've just killed him. Oh, no. Sorry, Astro Nautilus. Anyway, hopefully you're going to be all right. Just let us know. You can get out of it. Surely, Shiv. Anyway, having a look here at the bottom side of the map, this is where Live Sandbox should have the best time, and Diablo's going to start it off here as Pleta. I don't know whether you really want to do battle with these two, who are just having a great time, as you can see. Plan B going to have some cooldowns back up again relatively soon as well. As, of course, a long cooldown on that Cozy Campfire, but still, Live Sandbox with a bunch of control.
And Ghost being used on either side. Also, Plan B going for the Relic Shield, so will be expected to have a pretty easy level 2 advantage. And we see Plata and Career respecting that, as they should. And even with Longsword, Plata already chugging through both his pots due to the early harassment. And Diablo feeling great, sitting on a call as well.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, Pleta kind of like Astro Nautilus at the moment, just drinking everything that he had available to himself. Count if you say Shyvana, Atlas. I guess not.
No, it has to be specifically in reference to the item or surrounding memes.
Yes. Goody, just getting the shove here onto Satab. You can see he started with the wrong item. Goody, unfortunately, beginning the game with a Doran Ring.
Yeah, he's not going to build.
Memo.
He didn't go fleet either, so he's just going to go normal Ari build.
Yeah. Bit of a shame, but that's okay. Sometimes you just don't really feel like winning, you know? Like, go into that game and you're just like, I'll just lock Nunu. You know?
I've lost to AP Nunu mid, man. That can be a real
Have
menace.
you lost to Disco Nunu?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think it's possible.
Actually, that's one of the things that always gets me, is that it's not impossible to win with like someone actually Disco Nunu in the game. Like,
of course.
The win rate's really low.
Every game is winnable and losable.
Well, that's insane to me. So.
No, it's beautiful. It just shows like that anything's possible if you believe hard enough.
Diablo was not fleet last game. Diablo went PTA, and I do think that was partially due to the matchup because it was playing into Pyke, where obviously the extra power of PTA will help a lot in early all-ins, which it actually did, as we found out.
Also, but he might be extra mobility of the land.
Yeah, but it might be going for a straight-up shift this time around. We'll see whether or not he commits to that in due time.
I'm really worried. Astro Nautilus hasn't said anything for a while.
What a legend.
Or on 20. Okay, there we go. 21. Thanks, Partial Patrick. Absolutely nailing it.
I knew I could trust Twitch chat.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Flutter continuing to take a bit of damage here. And is down 10 CS. And this was their decision. So, there you go.
Yeah, you are playing Zeri, Yuumi, so you kind of just tank the
early game.
the lane. Yeah, it's just accepted. You also have Wukong, and you're going for this LeBlanc build, which does not actually do a whole lot.
That's the Nautilus.
Don't. Oh no! This was all
like,
you.
I need to go to the shops.
This was all you, man.
Me?
Yeah.
You blame it? Me?
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Yes,
Valdez.
it was.
It's always Valdez.
How is it Valdez's fault? He's at home playing Diablo.
No, he was in chat and he said it was his fault. Before. I swear he admitted it. I think he did.
No, I know he did.
Yeah, he did. He said it was me.
Yeah, but
See, that's him saying it's my fault.
But how does that work, though?
Yeah, there we go. It was me. Well, he admitted to it. He's accepting responsibility, and I'm going to allow that to happen because it means that I don't have to. So, yeah, sorry that happened after Nautilus. It was Valdez. Anyway, you can see Vincenzo coming on over, trying to get a little bit of value out of this Lee Sin pick. Level 5, there's the dash forward. Goody wanting to find it. Oh, very close to connecting it after the flash on that charm. There is, oh, dearie me. Okay, Seitab getting himself a nice little fleet footwork proc as Vincenzo just donating his health bar to this minion wave. And that is going to be accepted graciously as they do get a pretty optimal back timing here for Goody. Like to see it. Holds onto the flash. So next time could be a Vincenzo moment.
Excited to see whether that is going to happen.
Oh my goodness, I just realized Valdez is playing Arclash Sorcerer.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much Shiv in Diablo. So, I mean, he admitted fault, and I think now I really know why. He was orchestrating this from the beginning.
Maybe he was even the one that got right to buff the item.
Someone needs to pull his conversations on Twitter DMs with Free.
Yeah.
Someone needs to pull
Someone
that
get on the
information.
case.
We need Elon.
22, very good. I think Atlas said it twice.
Shiv.
23, 24, 25.
Shiv. Does static Shiv gain charges when LeBlanc Shiv distorts forward and snaps back, or just Shiv the first part of the Shiv distortion? Shiv?
Why are you like this, Atlas?
I woke up this morning and I chose Shiv. That's I think how that one works. Partial Patrick is not to be tricked though. He's just getting. Oh, actually no, we've got some doubt. There's some doubt in the chat. And look at this, we're now creating a fun little game for everyone to play Shiv. You know? As Goody's gonna come round, and that's gonna be a flash out immediately from Sponge.
Oh, he would have hit 6 of that Grump as well.
Might have been able to afford a Shiv.
Would have been huge.
Feels bad. Oh, Astro. Oh, God. Sorry. I thought you were at the shops. Ah. Anyway, Seitab diving forward here. Vincenzo in position, though. And now we are on a trek. Seitab thinks that it's Christmas time on this side of the rift. And Goody's just waiting for that charm to come back. There's the Orb of Deception. They do manage, speaking of deception, to get out the passive here of Seitab. And now he's dead. And we could go back to the beginning and ask what he meant by this, or we could just say, nice work on the Kill Live sandbox and move on with our lives.
I'm not too sure what Seitab, his thought process was right there. Going forward, Vincenzo, though, paying continued attention towards this middle part of the map, and I do think that is a great choice given that this composition is very reliant on the Lee and Ahri getting ahead in the mid to early game, as it will allow you to pick up some of those objectives and deny vision.
By the way, Partial Patrick, I feel like he's our Shiv accountant.
Yeah.
And he's very tired and bothered right.
Well,
Please give us a chance.
You are actively trolling.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it.
No, I'm not Shiv. Diablo. Now just here in the minion waves, DRX on the Rift Herald. Should be able to utilize that to put some extra money in the coffers, possibly money that can be used to trade for some Shivs. Allow them that extra defense in these troubling times on the Rift.
And might have a dive opportunity here. 2 people making their way over. Both Gucci and Vincenzo No reinforcements, no teleports available.
It's a decent ulti there out of Pleta, though. It is going to mean that there are at least no minions here to worry about. It's, oh my goodness, the amount of damage, but it's not quite enough. And in the end, both of them do go down. Live Sandbox well and truly on the board.
Coming alive here is Sandbox, getting the dive off. No counterplay between Vincenzo going for the flash kick. The setup for the rest of the team is easy as a result. 3-0 here.
Oh, man. Talk about sad things that happened. That Kraken Slayer, it came into the inventory like a spear through my heart. As DRX, yeah, there was not a lot they could do. They did do a decent job clearing out the wave.
Yeah.
First damage too high.
No counterplay to that one, unfortunately. Do note that Pleta is able to flash away, but Korea does get hit by the charm, and Pleta, his health bar is still way too low. And right now, Sandbox taking control early on. As you guys are killing Atlas, he is having a...
When we hit 100 shivs, can we trade in the shiv bucks for one real shiv? Is on a roll today.
Is this how, if you win enough scrims, you should actually just get a stage victory?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it goes. Kwandong would be off to the races in the LCK. Wow, Pleta takes a large chunk of damage.
Yeah, he's playing... So he has Kitch's Shard and 2 longswords, and Diablo has Kraken.
Yeah, and is about to finish his cull as well, so it's even going to be worse.
Yeah.
Zatab, though, very close to completing his
He's getting there.
Shield. He'll be allowed to electrocute those minions. And, yeah, there just won't be as many of those items on the side of Live Sandbox. We'll see whether they can overcome not having the thing that makes you win in this game. So far, it's working out very, very well. There's a whole bunch of buttons are pressed on the wrong Wukong. But that's fine. Kitchen Shard? Is that what you said?
Kirchhouse, right?
Yeah, I just say
Kitchies?
Energizer Dagger.
Energizer Dagger. That works.
Energizer
Hey,
Bunny.
Zatab has finished his first item of the game.
Hey, there we go. And it's a static shiv. Love that. As Plan B. Whew. That was not it. Not the place that you want it to be. Not a lot of safety there. As the exhaust down on Diablo, he's really dead. And so, both of the bottom lanes getting crushed one after the other as Frog. Now in trouble as well, goes all out onto Dahyuk and decides he wants to go all out of the area. Gets himself a little baby shield, and he will be able to get out and go home. Dahyuk going to let him live this time.
And with Sandbox getting a lead, it felt better than last game, but there is no justice in this world. Cassante lives. Enzeri gets a kill.
Aira Shies.
Sure.
Aira Shies. God.
Oh my god. And Career gets the piggyback off of the back from Sponge.
Oh man.
And now, it was a 2.5k gold lead for Sandbox.
Yeah.
And you feel so safe here because, like, look at the amount of vision you have on the bot side jungle.
And it's interesting, right? Because LeBlanc gets back to lane with a static shiv, and instantly this happens. Like, isn't it incredible, like, how powerful that item is?
No, Atlas, there's limits.
It's very impressive.
No, we can't go down this rabbit hole.
Night?
I've read enough
this morning
about that. Yeah, he did.
There's limits, but maybe they, you know, there's no limit. I disagree. I really like that Bradley Cooper movie. Didn't like the TV show that much.
I have not seen the TV show.
It wasn't great. I think maybe because Bradley Cooper kind of made that show. And Chenzo does manage to find a monkey in the jungle. It's understandable.
Hayek is really trying, man.
He is, giving it a red hot crack. We'll take 3 plates out of this top lane. 30 seconds before they do all fall down. Is now Sponge. Just tells this Lee Sin to vacate the area. The battle for the Gromp is a pretty powerful one. As the Coast Campfire comes in, that is going to be possibly a dead Vincenzo. Does kick the correct monkey. Nicely done. And will make it out of there. And I think also took the Gromp. Trade of ults, though, between the 2 junglers.
And as mentioned for Sandbox, they need to try and maintain this lead as we again get an Infernal Dragon, and that could really help the Sandbox composition. Extra threat in side lanes, allowing Dahyuk to, who is already winning the 1v1, push that lead even further and actually apply consistent pressure to side lanes. will be a very big boon here. And we're already seeing, and I think this is going to continue, the team fighting power of Yuumi and Wukong will be really hard to match for Sandbox, who don't really have a great way of getting onto Plata. Barring a flank.
Plata might do it for them, because he has been sort of diving on top of people.
That is
maybe
true.
that's something that they can rely on here. Probably not the greatest. Whoa! Okay, Seitab gonna flash. That's an ultless Lee Sin that he's gonna respect that much. But he wants to keep his static Shiv alive. That's fine. Is Shiv Zeri Yuumi the greatest combo in League history? Asks Astronautilus.
I
It is
don't know
something
about,
to
I don't know
muse
about
on.
greatest. It's definitely most iconic.
Is it?
What else would it be? Like Vi Ari? Faker Bengi?
Yeah, Faker Bengi. Nidalee Renekton.
That is high up there.
Yeah. Nah on is Vincenzo going to find the wrong LeBlanc, but then finds the right one. But the monkey getting some work done as well. Meanwhile, here on the bottom side of the map, Zeri is dead, but she managed to kill someone in the meantime. And now we've got some cat on Melio action. Oh, I was hoping for the ultra mega fire kick there to get rid of the cat. Man, that would have been cathartic, but didn't actually happen as the cat on a book pushes out the Melio.
And expecting this to be, yeah, as mentioned, this is what you want to do with Zeri. If you can find the opportunity early, all in, and actually is a straight up 1v1. And then obviously the two supports look at each other angrily and then decides to go their separate ways. Kill going over to, I think, both the AD carries as well, so it doesn't really change the gold equation between the two. And then in mid lane we had Sponge pick up a kill, Seitab going down, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think Yuumi would have actually got that kill if she had a build static Shiv. So, bit of a shame there. Unfortunately, building in, what is that, Echoes of Helia? Is that even real? Teleport going to come forward here as Seitab did put the distortion on cooldown. Really nice charm. And now Daihyuk going to just find a target, look to shoot it, or hit it with a lamppost. And Seitab not going to get out. Oh, that was cute, but he's still real dead.
And I'd say giving the kill to Daihyuk is definitely worse than giving it to Guti. Not for Seitab, who is not having the best of time on this LeBlanc, but for
You say that, but...
I know.
Yeah.
He's 0-3, Atlas.
Yeah, no, that doesn't matter. Look at the farm. 30 CSR.
Yeah.
Take that any day of the week.
Yes.
As second Herald, Shirley going to head towards this outer turret. Should be able to deal with that one quite nicely as Goody once again rotating over. Does find a charm onto the wrong monkey. Very tricksy composition when it comes to decoys with LeBlanc and the Wukong, but still, Liv Sandbox are going to be able to grab that turret and half of the next one. And that 2,000 gold lead that you were talking about, it has shrunk to about a 1.3, but still good news here for Liv Sandbox. And we'll see whether they can continue to build upon it. It's 30 seconds
Yeah,
on this Drake.
Fight's going to be really big, and despite all our memery and shenanigans, the shift spike itself is not necessarily that strong. I think particularly for LeBlanc when Night Harvester comes in, it really changes how you play fights. This early on though, it is imperative that Sandbox get this dragon. Getting Soul Point this early on really puts DRX in a rough position. And looking at the back timers here, I don't know if Sandbox is in a great position. It's actually DRX that has control of the area. They should be able to get mid-prio here, immediately rotate into River, and deny Sandbox the opportunity to set up for a fight. So going to make it a lot harder as, yep, that's a lot of damage.
Connect. Gets the snare onto Vincenzo as well, and he's exactly the member that you don't want to get chunked at this stage. Can do some heroics in theory. Still, the Sandbox.
Ooh, need to do some heavy lifting here. Daihyuk on the flank, but they should know he's on the bot side.
Not going to break those chains.
Ooh, that's a painful one. Yeah, this dragon really hurts to give up for Sandbox.
Oh dear. Well, that is going to be one of potentially 4 Infernals. That means if they do manage to get 4 Infernals, they would have picked up 7 Infernal Drakes. That would have been their Drake count for today's games. That's kind of cool. And now I kind of want it to happen. You know? Tower does fall here on this bottom side, though. Daihyuk doing his job on this Jax. As Seitab just taking his minion for a walk. That's what you do with cannons if you're LeBlanc.
Yeah, do you see the lane assignments here? Understandably, Frog doesn't mind playing into Guti because he is Xante, so good luck killing him ever. And Seitab shouldn't win the 1v1 against Daihyuk, but also isn't really ever in threat with the amount of ability that LeBlanc has available. And as a result,
Why are people talking about Z0 Portal? It makes me sad because I loved that item.
I love that item as well. It was so silly.
It was so silly.
You know, little.
Watching the little rhino bugs just
Yeah.
pop up out of it. Oh, that was so cute. I remember that. When was Rock Portal meta? That was like 2015. I remember having a conversation with like every commentator that I was with when I was on the LPL. I'd talk for at least 3 minutes every game just about how cute the little rhino beetle guys were. And we'd ask what they were.
That does sound like you.
Because they looked like little rhinos. But I think
They're just
they were
little
bugs.
voidlings, right?
Yeah. That's now, yeah. That's it was. We were all younger back then. And now
That's always
we're just enjoying the shivs.
true though for everyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of how
You
time
either
works.
were younger back then or you didn't exist.
Yeah.
You are either younger or not.
44.
Apart from Brad Pitt in that movie.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
That's it. Or that movie. It's fine. Was it Fury as well? I think he also had the same thing in Fury. As DRX taking a bit of damage here. Let's see how he goes. There we go. Sponge locks down that kill. Meanwhile, here on the top side of the map, someone got kicked, and Cassante. Diablo now running away from Pleta. Good exhaust does come through, but doesn't really get enough value. And oh dear, the Ghost has been used. Diablo going to throw the ultimate out. Pleta taking a lot of damage here, though, and as you can see, Diablo is not to be messed with. Pleta going to escape.
So, what do you mean the same thing happened in Fury? That's just a movie about a tank.
No, he was getting younger as well.
What?
Yeah, it was like the army and stuff, but he was also, it was Benjamin Button in it. If you pay really close attention, like his hair gets shorter as the movie goes on. It's really cool.
So he got a haircut.
Yeah.
Oh!
Anyway, Frog's going to engage. Oh, they were all stacked up, but I think it was... Okay, never mind. Plan B now running away. And Vincenzo now has that kick back off cooldown. So could theoretically utilize it. There was the other kick, like you were talking about, Plan B, being able to use that one optimally.
Oh yeah, that was very confusing, obviously, because we have a lead. But I meant the ultra
mega fire kick of Doom Destiny. Yeah.
I think the reason why a simple comment from you about Fury really gets to me is just because of the amount of shiving. I feel like my
There's been a lot of silly, and if I just
full.
I say more silly that's too silly, then your brain's gonna break. And that makes for good content.
I can't take it.
Makes for great content. It's very good stuff.
So Night Harvester is done, which Setup is going to use very well on every single lightning proc. Means that the extra damage from Night Harvester is going to be great. It also helps you get the extra movement speed, which allows you to charge up your energized faster. So just works on a whole bunch of levels.
Yeah, Kagagu's Shalabo, whatever that item is, really does make a great component of the Shiv. Anyway, DRX waiting for the next dragon. 45 seconds approximately on that one. They're going to stack up all of these fiery dragons. And Saytab, does find a really nice chain here as Vincenzo looks to try and close the gap. He's going to have to flash away, though, as there's the final chapter, and that is going to be the final time that we're going to see the Lee Sin alive, or at least until he respawns. Now Goody in a bit of trouble. He's going to flash, he's going to Everfrost, press all the buttons that he's ever had. Good Moonlight Vigil, but not a whole lot to come off it. And now Dihawk's going to be fighting against Frog, and he's going to say, oh, thanks. The good old gap closing for the Jax Q.
Yeah, as Cleaver and Frog thinking the turret would help him. The turret did not.
Betrayed.
Help him.
Betrayed by the turret.
The burst of Jax, something that needs to be respected. And that was a bounty on Frog, which feels unfair regardless of, which team you're rooting for.
I know.
I feel like he shouldn't have a bounty.
I think he should have a Shiv.
I don't want to talk about it. As the Drake being taken here by DRX, having lost on the top half of the map, want to make sure that they have the croissants available. There is a teleport and Sandbox. Are they just going to pick this up uncontested? Would be a colossal win. We see some pings from DRX towards the Baron pit.
Oh, can they actually go for the trade, though, is the question. I don't think so. as at least they have a better comp for it than last time around, and Goody's going to be able to make it out.
That's huge.
Yeah, so Soul Point now picked up by Liv Sandbox. DRX kind of know that they do have a window to guarantee vision around this Baron and possibly start it up, but they're not going to go for it. Sponge sitting on not very much health. Satab in a similar position. But back to the Baron they go. And now, Pleta in this mid lane. Going to move back towards the rest of his team as it's very dark.
DRX doesn't have TP yet.
In
they don't
this
have damage.
there river. Exactly right. They are just going to back away. So once again, DRX's biggest issue has been Baron, just in general. Dihak going to just straight up kill this turret and very comfortably take that one away. So the Jax, we were talking about being able to farm side lanes and things like that with a static shiv. Jax, the champion, is just a bit better at it. And you should have a hull breaker relatively soon as well, which is going to make shivving those minions a little bit more difficult, one could say.
I think Sandbox are in a prime position to take this game. I'm really impressed
looking
by
real
how
good.
they played out the early game. And the pick on top side, Frog going down there, is actually so big because it takes away a lot of the threat of him TPing into a fight with Dihak not having teleport available. So DRX don't feel confident that they can actually contest the Dragon. So now Soul Point's there for Sandbox. And as long as they can maintain this 1-for-1 state, it becomes very hard for DRX to actually reliably get wins in fights. We see that their engage isn't necessarily great. Their 5v5 is very powerful if they can actually get Sandbox to commit, but thus far, doesn't really seem to be the case, as do have some pressure being put out here. Sponge looking for a side lane collapse.
I have an idea for how League of Legends needs to evolve. You know the popularity of Diablo 4. You know how in Diablo... Okay, we do have Vincenzo getting a bit of an engage. They do get a pretty early Cyclone, as Sponge not going to be able to get the kill into Vincenzo on that one, but that is a very low health bar on this Lee Sin. And once again, possibly in a rough spot, as Dihak, he is so much of Liv Sandbox just in general. He's going to go over to these Raptors and try and get that health bar back up one more time. As Goody, he's pretty low as well. As in goes Dihak. A lot of value with the Counter-Strike. That one was massive. As now DRX are looking for some sort of turn. Goody in a fair bit of trouble, but Diablo's going to find the auto on the LeBlanc. And now DRX is going to move back to the Baron. They do manage to take it down. One sacrifice of a Cassante is going to come in, and now Sponge and Pleta looking to get away. I guess Career's there as well, but he's sort of not at the same time, as he's a cat on a book.
Still,
and they take the Baron.
That's a huge win for DRX. Denying the Baron to Sandbox is incredibly important. With Hullbreaker done, Dihak would rampage through, could straight up get to the Nexus in like 20-30 seconds of unsupervised time. And them getting it is big here. Want to highlight particularly Dihak setting up the fight really nicely. The only downside for him is that the follow-up is a little bit late.
It was a 4-man Counter-Strike as well.
So he played that really well, but the rest of the team not quite ready to follow up. And then, crucially, Satab goes in over-aggressively, gets sniped out by Diablo. But DRX had the presence of mind to keep this Nash leashed. We'll be able to pick it up. Everyone else will be able to make it out. And 2 kills for a Baron is a great trade. It means you stay in the game, but still, Sandbox the one who keep the pressure up as, oh god, Lichbane is done. Things are about to get a whole lot more fun for the backline of Sandbox.
Getting a bit shivier. Over here on the side of DRX. They still need to stop this Drake from going down though, because Liv Sandbox, I mean, you can say whatever you want about the compositions. You managed to get Infernal Soul, and you're in prime position to win the game regardless. But
yeah, he needs pressure hard here. He needs to force Dihak to join.
Oh yeah, because Dihak's not going to stop unless he absolutely has to. You can see, considering not going to, as now we have a billion pings heading towards his top side. He is going to look to try and escape. He might just take this turret and then just accept his fate, and the rest of the team may just push.
Oh, that's rough.
Satab going to take the Jax for a walk as over goes the kitty cat. As now Dihak with the Counter-Strike. There's the flash from Satab, gets yet another chain. Dihak's going to break his stopwatch. As in the meantime, DRX are just going to push in. They'll take one inhibitor, but is that it? The answer is no, as they are going to take the inhib as well. Sorry, inhib turret and inhib. Would have been a little bit confusing otherwise, as DRX are going to continue pushing also, but I think that this is absolutely worth for Liv Sandbox.
Depends on whether they can actually turn this into reliable pressure on Dragon. Will get spotted out there by Pleta. Good shout. Meanwhile, Satab has TP, so can stay in the side lane unmatched. DRX isn't there, and this should lead to DRX getting the Dragon. Mid lane inhibitor, not necessarily the most viable one, the most important one.
And there was a lot of wards actually here from DRX
Vincenzo.
to allow them to get over towards this
He can
Drake.
get the steal.
Oh, would be huge, as he's not even going to go for it. That is going to be Drake secured here by DRX. Only Drake number 2, so not end of the world or anything like that, as Goody is going to turn up towards this top side and catch all of those minions that Satab was plowing over there. And Live Sandbox, still in a decent spot, but a few bumps in the road, one could say. And the mid lane inhibitor is not necessarily the most dangerous, right? Because all of our teams spend all of their time in mid lane anyway.
Yeah, and also, as much as we meme it, this is also one of the prime reasons why you go Shiv, is because it doesn't matter, right? You can chew through this very quickly. The super minion still is going to be somewhat tough for Satab to deal with, but Plata will have no problem whatsoever. And now DRX getting another Drake here as well means that we really are in a game state where I can see either team taking it. It depends on how well Sandbox can actually leverage this top side lead that they have. Because DRX, unmatched, right? You saw even with multiple people how long it took for them to take him down. Expect him to go stopwatch as well, which will mean that DRX is going to have to spend so much time trying to deal with him, and might actually end up being GA based on the BF sword that he has picked up. We'll see what it ends up being, but the downside for Sandbox is that while Dayak and Diablo obviously are going to be feeling great getting into the later stage of the game, on the rest of the spectrum, you're not going to feel as great getting into the ultra late game, particularly not against Plata.
Oh, you can see Satab looking to dive forward and get a bit of damage. Yeah, that is good old
how it
static
starts.
Shiv situation. Alongside Lichbane and Night Harvester is, yep, Vincenzo, he'll take his dosage. He's going to shrug it off relatively well. It's Diablo that really has to avoid it. As speaking of avoiding things, that extender beam, you didn't really need to walk into it. What is this? It's not fair! It's not fair at all, Chronicler!
I know!
It's not allowed! Stop it! Chronicler,
they're
fix
trying
it!
so hard to engage! This is TP though, that's a big cooldown used.
Alright, well they're just gonna go all in. Goody taking a lot of damages, my goodness!
Wait, but they didn't get anyone.
No, they didn't.
Dayak
They
is
did a bit of
pushing.
damage, and now Dayak is just gonna maybe win the game.
The spirit of Dundun?
Do we even teamfight anymore? Does this video game have anything to do with
shouldn't.
teamfights? Do we just shiv? Is that all?
Oh, Dayak, no, man, you just keep going. Accept the death.
Yeah,
you
I
take
reckon
it, there's no
that
objective.
seems like the way. Or he just runs, and then the
I
rest of
guess
his
it's
team
fine.
does stuff. Yeah, he just walks away.
Nice. Not
That's
even
fine.
close.
Maybe just don't even go home. Maybe just walk back. Don't know.
Something about those Challenger Jaxes, man.
I know. Powerful stuff. Anyway, Satab looking for a Rabidance as fourth item.
So that's the problem, is he doesn't have it yet. He must be sitting on a ton of gold, because he's been sitting on 2 rods for a while now. If he can finish that death cap, the amount of damage that he's going to do between Lichbane, Night Harvester, and the frankly absurd ratio, as a Sponge almost gets killed, on his autos is going to be, with Lichbane, is going to be insane. Like this is pre.
Yeah.
He really needs to finish it though, as they spot him.
At plan B, yeah.
Oh my God, man. So
As my mother would
we
say.
actually saw Viteo pull out the Kaisa and like, I'm on board. Anything to make this stop. As Nexus for Baron V2, maybe?
I guess that's what we're going for. Dahab does have his teleport if you'd like to join, but maybe
I don't
just
think he
call the
should.
bluff. Just let this
Yeah.
happen as Vincenzo gets into the pit,
He
steals
gets
it away.
it!
Oh my God! And now it's a Jax with a Baron. This game is over. It's just done. Because he's just going to keep pushing. Diablo's got red white guns, just having a
don't
great
have the
time.
empowered
Everyone's
recall.
trying to back. But they're not going to be able to inside the brush.
Oh.
Okay, they do get a few people home. The Monkey not going to be so
be it.
lucky, as it is at least going to be Pleta that's here. Does have cleanse, but teleports are raining in. Pleta's real dead. The cat going to go down as an afterthought. Lamppost to the face. And who needs a static Shiv if you've got a Jax killing turrets?
Oh, bait Sandbox getting the victory here. And
I don't know how to feel.
I feel great, because Sandbox had a composition that had to leverage Jax. This is a Challengers team, and they were actually able to set up a game state where they can use a split pusher. That doesn't happen
I know.
in my Challengers.
I know. And there's also the fact that now DRX have lost with a bad composition and won with a bad composition. And so we'll have to see whether this means that perhaps we'll get a draft phase where champions that are cool and good start happening. As we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to do some voting real quick here.
Is it a tough vote?
I mean, die up.
Yeah. And the only reasonable conclusion, as chat has already reached it, is we need a buff. Fortunately, on 13-12, we are getting a buff.
Yeah. So I'm really glad that does come through. As you can see, 35,000 damage is not quite enough.
No.
To be done here. I also think that there was a lot of things that were done that game by Live Sandbox that were very good. But I think that, you know, Wukong's just still bad, just not good. He's been picked so many times and has just lost every single time. Makes me very sad. Don't think that's very good at all. I think Ari could have built a Shiv, but otherwise, I think that Goody played a very good game.
Oh, he was my front runner until, you know, the Jack situation happened. Because he had a wonderful game, playing very far forward, and particularly against a 1-3-1 comp, you're really seeing DRX. In previous game, because they have map control, they were able to just continuously shove, and Sandbox never was able to contest for Cryo, never really able to catch DRX off guard. But that wasn't the case here, and if you have a composition like this that doesn't actually engage that well into Ari, Lee, Milio, like how can you engage? And we saw that Sandbox were very aware of this as well. The amount of kitebacks that they went for every time with Dyak in the side lane. It seems easy, but we've seen a lot of challenger teams in particular, and even some LCK teams really struggle with this. So seeing Sandbox pull it off is great, and that is very deserved. Delt to tower.
There we
Almost
go.
20K.
We're back. Back to another Delt to tower. That is Delt to tower back to back. You love to see it. DPM at 555 is very cool as well. Right in the middle there, as far as the number is concerned, if you've got a limit of 10. Really cool stuff. Dyak played a fantastic game of League of Legends, and that is going to be his first POG for the season. Very cool stuff. Well deserved.
Absolutely. And for Sandbox, we know individually that these players are quite good over their highlight moments, but actually pulling it together and getting a win against the first place team is a really big moment for this team. And going into a game number 3, we've been giving DRX a lot of the benefit of the doubt with the Shiv memes and the fact that they won game number 1.
Yeah.
But now back-to-back drafts that look not
Iffy.
so hot.
Yeah.
And then in this game, just straight up get outplayed. We'll see whether they can bounce back when they will be on blue side. Obviously expected to have a little bit of a better time there.
Yeah, in theory. I think that the mindset probably won't change. I think this is just kind of their read, right? Is that building Shiv means good fun in-game. But maybe I'm wrong, and perhaps we'll just have some real League of Legends. We'll have to find out after the break. Hello and welcome back to LCK Challenger 2023 Summer. I am Atlas, joined by Chronicler, and we're here for the ultimate game of this series. We are tied up 1-1. Live Sandbox on one side, DRX on the other, most likely the blue one. And we'll have to see who comes out on top in what is a very serious series.
I think we might be looking at a fight for the soul of League of Legends. That's actually what's happening here. Because if DRX win, that means that the Shiv wins.
And you can trust us because we're looking down from our spaceship on the entire world. We can see everything.
Never.
Sprawled out in front of us.
Zero way.
Yeah, we can see the full picture, if you will. And the full picture kind of looks a little bit like a blue lightning bolt. That's what I'm sort of seeing. Here out of the front windshield. Is it a windshield? It's not, is it? Because you're in space. There's no wind. What is it called? What's the front of an a spaceship called?
The bridge? Like, I know what you mean. You mean
That's
like
a cockpit.
No, you mean like the thing at the...
Yeah, the thing you look out of.
I don't know.
Viewport?
Huh.
Snipperwolf? You might be right.
I'll believe random Twitch chatter.
Twitch Toto Gaming says
never lied
shield.
to me.
It could also be a ship shield.
Window.
Yeah. Okay. And this guy's going at Mark 330. So he knows a thing or two about a windshield. And in space, he could go Mark 330, 330 as much as he would like. And things would be fine. Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it. Mark, nicely done.
We have some info.
DRX has selected the red side. So we will continue down the same road that we were on before. And now we get to see what's at the end.
Hey, Joe. At Chronicle. I'm very confused. As far as I'm aware, I am not Joe.
I am Mackie. What did he mean?
What did he mean by this?
Yeah.
So there is a Joe, obviously, in esports. It's Munchables.
True. But
oh, Joe from you. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I think it's the hair.
Maybe. I think it's the jaw. Anyway, here we are. On to into Champion Select to see. We can once again play the game of who can build a particular attack speed item that shoots out lightning. Or we could just not. And,
you want to go for zero this time?
We'll see. Well, yeah. Maybe. We'll see how I'm feeling.
Is Astronaut still alive? I'm kind of worried.
Well, he's probably alive, just very drunk. Cannon, going to be banned away. Same bans as game number 2. Of course, worked for Live Sandbox in that particular game. As Lucian, Nico, and one final one to be taken away here.
Yeah,
Melio, there we go.
Because the
Passing the
Cassante
test
was honestly fine. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but in the current state of the league, maybe Cassante isn't the real problem anymore.
Absolutely not. I would say that he's been overtaken by all the other broken things.
Please go for zero so I can do some work. I'm sorry, partial pet trick. As Vi is going to make it through. Vi Ari seemingly a no-brainer here. And also kind of drops the Zeri Yuumi stock. We have a guaranteed way to get on top of this backline.
Yeah, I think that
but you also can't leave it open because then they get Zeri Yuumi.
Felios Yumi's probably fine.
Yeah, that'd be my angle as well.
I would lock that one in. I think that Zeri is a bit overrated at this point. But DRX disagree. So I guess we're just going to go for it again. Belveth, of course.
Sponge is going to again show us some fun things before locking in Maokai. Oh yeah, probably Yuumi first, huh? Because otherwise they have Felios Yuumi.
They do.
And we'll see.
So he's just going to hover some fun champions. I hope he doesn't play that.
Not. Oh
my god.
Why would you lock it in here?
Wow.
So they're going to
Wow, they shouldn't have picked it at all.
Well,
and then they pick it instead of locking away Yuumi so that they deny it.
Yeah, I don't know about... I do know about that one. I don't like it. Wow. Like, Sandbox have Ari Vi, and they also get a Felios. So, obviously, the Yuumi can never be locked in for DRX.
But now, they're just showing that they don't care about Yuumi at all.
I mean, with this composition, honestly, you'd rather have Nautilus. Like Nautilus Vi Ari.
That's true. I mean,
Imagine
Zeri's not
being
going to have a good
Zeri.
time.
It's a 2-for-1 deal as well.
Yeah.
Because Career is going to be sitting right on top of Plata.
Okay, Rakan going to be locked
I like
in
that a lot
instead.
more. Yeah. The laning phase is going to be a bit of a toughie. I expect DRX to, at the very least, ban away like a Lulu. We'll see whether they end up... Because Lulu and Yumi both are kind of tough to deal with.
Astronautilus says Sponge also had 52 drinks, question mark. That's it's in reference to the fact that he locked in Wukong on purpose. Crazy stuff to be witnessing here. As, yeah, the Nautilus, like you were talking about, banned away. Annie also removed from Satab, who does just want to play LeBlanc, like we know that. Although, Goody did have a very good time in lane, and then out of lane immediately afterwards, and that's only going to get worse here for Satab to deal with the Vi now being locked in. Much harder to outplay a cease and desist. As Poppy, just going to be taken off the board. Ooh, that means a 4th pick Jax for Frog. If you can't beat him, join him. What do you reckon?
That way. Can't believe Cassante's made it this far, and I can't believe that I'm like, yeah, maybe you love Jax as opposed to, oh boy.
Whoa, well,
we are I mean, that does make sense.
The crockening.
Yeah. And obviously, Daya can go Jax again, but picking Jax into Renekton is...
Hey, it's good for the first 2 levels.
It's good for, like, I'd give him, like, the first 3.
Oh, what?
Maybe
Broken.
4. And then for, like, 10 levels, it's very miserable. And then it gets good again.
Hey.
Plan B, he's fresh.
All
It was
right.
great.
It definitely outplayed the...
Ooh, I like
The-
that.
the
Don't
what's
like
he who
that.
guy.
Don't, ooh,
That's a Gwen into Renekton.
Yeah, Gragas is great. Gragas is lovely, but Dayak
What
was
wins?
the
Snip,
win
snip, or
condition.
chomp, chomp?
With how many minutes in the game are we?
No, just in general.
How many minutes in the game are we?
We're not.
We're not in game.
Snip, snip, chomp, chomp. It's an easy question. What's better?
Chomp chomp.
I knew it. I knew it was better. I just needed you to confirm that you're on the same page. I like it a lot. Well, Gwen going to be locked in. So we're trading interesting choices here.
Oh my.
As that's a Kali.
Oh,
DRX
Satap is
are
bringing
just
it
doing
back.
some stuff, man.
I've
Oh
not
my
seen that in a
goodness.
while.
This is Challenger DRX that can now play DRX Akali in the mid lane. Huge. Huge. You love to see it. Absolutely amazing stuff. If
No,
only we
no,
had
no,
Caitlyn
no.
Ashe in the bottom lane.
No, not. No.
No what? Are we okay?
No,
Shiv
Shiv
Kali?
Kali. No,
Oh.
no. There's no way that's good though, because you don't have a ranged auto, so it loses so much of its power.
Yeah, you do.
You're a Kali.
Yeah, you do have an extra range auto.
Yeah, you have an empowered range auto.
Yeah.
If you pick up your.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you shiv him with it. You get into your Twilight Shroud, and you come out of the Shroud like a rogue from the shadows,
The amount of
shivving
joy,
them.
the amount of joy that is in your face, Atlas, as I am sitting here in pure pain.
Oh, he's making sense. He is indeed. Shiv abusers go to jail. Well, bigger Bossu, Bobble Ross. You're just upset because there's no Gragas in this game. I understand. It's okay.
So, DRX have drafted what is effectively a melee composition into Gwen and Fresh and Aphelios, and I don't think it's going to go very well. I think there's a lot of lockdown. Sandbox have an incredibly strong, like really strong mid jungle 2v2. Their ability to start a fight is amazing. They can struggle in the laning phase, and that's where I expect DRX to really take over, but just Renekton to get you through the early game against the amount of like guaranteed lockdown that Sandbox have available, and their team fighting power is kind of crazy, and they scale really well as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Live Sandbox have won draft every game so far. They may not win the series.
Yep.
That's what we've
Oh,
got
might
to...
still lose the game.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's play trumps everything in Challengers Atlas, as we both know.
Absolutely. And sometimes you just never know, and that is the joy of this league. Let's rock out. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zekka's skin. You can find it in the store. Support your favorite DRX players, whether they be on this team or whether they now be on Humble Life Esports and D+ Kia and Team Liquid and all sorts of stuff, wherever the players may be. You can support the org, you can support them. Have a great time. Buy some skins. Saytab's one that he's rocking right here. One of my favorites. I think that Caitlyn and Maokai are the best. Alpaca Diff.
The Deft skin is the best. Atlas thinks the Deft skin is the best. What a shocking
okay,
turn of
you
events.
give me an alpaca with sunglasses.
Never seen that comment.
You know what? Your facetiosity can find somewhere else to be, okay?
You know what this is?
What is it?
Karma, Atlas.
No, it's not. She's reserved to be played with Jin in lanes that I hate.
Kali, basically always goes fleet chat, so we don't know yet.
Yes.
If there is a longsword picked up, that's when we know that we have sunk into pits of despair.
Indeed.
Deeper.
I personally play Aftershock Akara. So I find the most value with that skin. With that don't win a lot of games, weirdly enough.
Oh, you go Everfrost so you can proc it.
Yeah, you have to do it. You get that great one-item power spike.
Well, I mean, you also, you use Everfrost so well as Ahri.
True.
Because you can get in position very easily for the proc.
Yeah. As a Kali, you mean?
Yeah.
Because Ahri actually builds it.
No, as a Kali.
Gonna go wide as the battle dance does come through here. Saytab taking a bit of a rest underneath his turret for now, admiring this glorious skin. Absolutely lovely stuff. And Sponge just once again being Wukong, probably wondering why, as are we. Because he could have been a lot of different champions. There's Frog the Croc here in this top lane. It's a very animal-themed DRX side of the top lane. And then there's a lady with scissors. Being piloted by Daya.
And as expected, early game going to be in favor as... Ooh. Sponge knows.
Well, Vault Breaker going to get charged there. Nice little knock-up onto Plan B, but nothing really comes of it. And that is going to be first plate down here for Liv Sandbox very early on in this lane. 3 minutes just ticked over, and we're already taking plates in the bottom lane.
And Sandbox they just look great, right? They pry on every single lane. Vincenzo, they're looking for a topside play here, but with Frog underneath the turret, doesn't look like there actually is an opportunity.
And we really need to.
Yeah, that's... So once you get a couple of points in your queue, that's when Renekton really starts to get scary and scary. And obviously the level 6 spike, even though for Gwen it is great, it's going to be tough. What is really big though is that Daya did go for Ignite. And that means that your 1v1 against the Renekton is actually substantially better because it also cuts a lot of his healing.
Cuts, I get it.
Because it's
fizzes.
Yeah, no, that's not...
Not as immune into the Crocodile as you'd otherwise expect. And Frog going to think about going for a bit of an early back here. Get that health bar back under control. But it's a huge lead here for the Gwen as Saytab dashing forward, random charms flying through the air, things like that.
So far, so good. Because
Indeed.
that is a Dark Seal.
Hey, there we go.
Not a Shiv item.
Although, when I first had a look at the king of playing LeBlanc with attack, Dundun, he had a Magize with his Shiv build. That was an important, integral part of the build.
I mean, it is a good item.
I think it was straight from his Mobifier guide. I remember reading a Katarina guide in Season 1, trying to learn how to play the champion, and apparently you had to build Magize first item. Otherwise, the champion doesn't work.
Okay, but on Katarina, that actually makes sense. You know what? I think it was Valdis and I saw recently. Was a Kraken Slayer Ginso's Wits End Katarina.
On hit.
Yeah. And it shredded everything, unsurprisingly, because it got fat, so it's,
Yeah, right.
Katarina coming up huge.
Does that mean that Katarina can build actually like every kind of item ever in the game?
Yeah. We had the Sunderer era of Katarina.
Yep. Sunfire Cape era.
Yeah.
What was she built the same build that what was it? The Akali's built.
Oh, the Chemtech?
Yeah.
Ugh.
That old build. Good times.
Was it?
Atlas, your mic is going in and out, totally messed up. No, it's not. Your ears are going in and out, and they are totally messed up.
You don't trust Valdes?
Nope. You're not. I might just be moving around the microphone. Similar to that. But I'm not sure. And I probably did just turn my head. Because we've got, you know, we hold the mics ourselves. I'm not used to doing it. And I'm animated, you know, when I move around and talk. And
You do.
yeah. So, there we go.
This game is definitely happening.
It is. Is it? No. I blindly agreed with you, but I don't know whether it's actually happening. There are things going on. We are on Summoner's Rift.
We're about to find out whether Setup is straying too far away from the light or not on his next back. I'm feeling good. I think he's just going to go for a cheeky, nice and easy rocket belt, and that's fine. It's going to be okay.
I think it should be that. Setab going to throw out the ultimate here. Perfect execution is available, but he's going to use it defensively. Needs to get out of there. Wow, down to about 100. As he does get back home. And he's going to sign the ground with some Zeka.
Big moment there from Career. If he doesn't make the roam, then we might be in trouble, as we still do. But signs are pointing, obviously, if you do go for the...
that's a steal.
Big.
Yeah, Sponge,
6
only
available.
level 5. Cease and desist there for Vincenzo, like you were talking about. Plan B walks over a ward as the hook goes wide.
This is the second game in a row that this has happened to Sponge. This exact timing.
Oh yeah, he's Wukong again. So obviously he's just going to get clapped by anyone else who comes into his jungle. I don't know why the monkey was picked. I think it's not good. And we're seeing that I'm not being proven wrong, which is sad. I'm often wrong, and I kind of like it when I am.
Because it gives you faith in the players?
No, it just means things are more interesting than I otherwise thought.
Well, game's not over.
It isn't, but it's on the way. As Frog moving towards his tri-brush, I'm doing my very best to hold the microphone steady. If it hasn't been going in and out, then we know that it's an Atlas problem that we may have been running into, instead of it being a something else. Not sure. But yes, Setab certainly still keeping us on the edge of our seats as far as when the noon quiver's coming in.
No.
It's probably safe.
The Wardens.
I'd like to see it. You know, then you've got side laning Akali. And into Gwen has historically been a great matchup.
This is a big fight here. Really important here for either team to get an early lead.
Frog the Croc lying in wait in the river, natural habitat. They're going to dive on top of him. He does manage to get the Dominus off, as now he's trying to press as many buttons as he can, but first blood goes to the Gwen. Disaster for DRX, as in goes Setab, looking for some opportunities, but he's not able to get them. Now flashing 5-point strike goes wide, but he does manage to take down the Gwen. It's a double for Diablo, though. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it was kind of cute that it did. And now 2,000 gold and a herald the lead for Live Sandbox.
Disaster for DRX, as the hard commit onto Frog often doesn't quite work out because this is a reaction, but they have so much damage, and with Ignite and Gwen this early on, healing is not going to be enough. And then crucially, Fala isn't in this fight at all. Right? Dio barely survives, but him surviving ends up being huge, and then Setup flashes over like, yeah, you get the kill, but that's another kill going over. Great guns from Diablo as well. Again, showcasing his presence on this Aphelios. Setup has given us a definitive answer. I am not shivving, not this game, but a 2k gold deficit, and we haven't... Oh, Diablo's dead.
Oh, yeah, Diablo's very dead.
Wow,
He's doing
that's
his very
huge.
best to press the button, but it doesn't really happen. So there we go. Like you were saying, things definitely coming up Live Sandbox. This was a little bit back in the way of DRX, but I don't think DRX are out of the woods just yet, so to say. And yeah, it's just a good little engage here from Korea. As Plan B's like, just take the Lantern, and then all of the wards. Feels bad.
Can't do anything about that. Nice engage found by Career, as you point out, as
Okay, let's see how Gwen's gonna do this time. No Ignite, and the back is just gonna be channeled. And Sponge Gonna cancel that one. Will he cancel this one is the question.
Oh, you gotta go for the kill.
The Herald does come forward. He's just gonna go home.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Well, now the Gwen underneath the turret will be able to claim some plates here, as a couple of these minions will go down as well. You cannot immune the turret, as it turns out, Dayhak, but I don't think that's what he was intending. Just wanted to make sure that he could avoid as much damage as he possibly could. As he does push another wave in. Nice charm here from Goody, who's been playing very well on this Ahri, 2 games in a row now.
And big there is the fact that Sponge's entire bot side was up, so he really wanted to not sit in a top side rush, but I feel like if you committed that much time to trying to make it work, as oh, that's a hook.
Yeah, hook gonna connect. Korea in so much trouble. Cease and desist. Yep, Vincenzo is going to get his wish, absolutely, because that Rakan isn't doing anything. Cease to live, in fact, as this first Drake, or second Drake, sorry, is going to go to Live Sandbox, much like it did in the previous game. And do you know the trend that I see? Game number 1, DRX had 3 shivs and they win. Game number 2, DRX has 2 shivs and they lose. This game, they're going to have 0 shivs and it's looking worse than game 2. And so if I was to do any learning from this series, I know what I would learn.
I'm going to flip it around. I think that DRX only won because of the shifts.
Wasn't that my point?
Well, kind of, but you framed it more so as in that they're losing because they don't have shivs. I think they're only winning because they had shivs. It's completely different. Obviously.
Huh. Well, sounded similar to me. That's all right.
Oh, I feel bad. I was joking.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I was meaning. I wasn't trying to make you feel like... How does this still backfire on me?
I know. It will always backfire on you if I
How does that work?
that it's going to. As Vincenzo, he's getting to work on his Gromp.
Atlas.
And once again, Live Sandbox find themselves in a commanding position here in the earlier stages of the game. This has happened in the past, and they haven't been able to follow through on it, but with some practice in game number 2 and a few less lightning swords to deal with, I think it's just going to be a grand old time here for Live Sandbox as they move with their glorious composition towards a late game where they'll win. You know?
I left after game 1 and Crony was calling the shiv comp garbage and come back to him saying they only won because of the shivs. Yeah, well, the shivs were broken. I still think the drafts were not good, and I think this draft, to me, is game 2 was maybe worse, but giving over Vi is one thing. I'm like, okay, you know, maybe. But then giving over Vi Ahri and like getting Wukong for it in return.
Also priority picking the Wukong.
Yeah.
That was where my brain really stopped.
Oh, we're not counting, Johnny. Though I appreciate a commitment to the bid.
yeah, don't worry about it.
Let's keep going.
We don't want to kill after the motor.
Well, I think they're fine now.
Yeah, no, he is. He did confirm.
Not be, but I am. Okay, Johnny.
Yeah.
Good. I appreciate your work ethic. All right, shout out to you. But now nobody has a shiv. What do we make of that?
Well, we're still going to say the word until someone buys one. It might be second item here for Pletty.
I think the takeaway is that it's overrated and you shouldn't buy it. It's all.
Okay, there's a flayback as Plan B's trying to keep himself alive. In goes the Vi. And Diablo, he's got some good guns for a fight, but you can see Korea looking for his opportunity, and it's DRX that are coming to life in this game. I didn't even see the power spike. It didn't actually happen.
Even without a shiv, it turns out you can win a fight. As it is the engage from DRX that we talked about a little bit, looking at the composition. Rakan, Wukong is a combo that can start off fights. Maybe not. He should be fine. No, he's not. He's dead.
He's very dead.
You know, Korea.
There needs to be that one person to randomly die after a fight. It's been happening every time this game.
It really has. And I don't know about that one, Korea. Let's go back on the drawing board on that one. This is, however, a Chemtech Drake, so Drakes don't really matter, which is a big win for DRX. But they also have lost the other objectives, which are Herald number 1 and Herald number 2, going down right in front of our eyes here.
Yeah, Live Sandbox showing the value of having a jungler. as unfortunately DRX have a Wukong. And this was just well orchestrated by DRX after I thought the re-engage was going to work out very nicely for Live Sandbox.
And crucial there is that Satan is able to simultaneously get out and keep himself alive. Frog is mostly just there for moral support, to be a scary crocodile. Didn't actually really partake in the fight, but it's okay because Diok is on the teleport timer, so no real big issue there. And this Akali getting fed, I think, is one of the few true win conditions that DRX have, even though it will still be very hard to play out because, again, as far as tools into Akali go, like, Vi's high up there.
Oh yeah.
Because you can just throw down the ult. There's not a lot you can do against it.
Maybe that's the strategy. The strategy is like put in as many things that Vi is good at so that she can't ult all of them. If you only have one, then you're screwed. But if you've got two, then you're feeling great.
Seeing what's happening. Pleta realized that he made a mistake going for Shiv in the last game. And I'm actually on board. I think that Shiv, the AP variant of Shiv, like the LeBlanc version, is actually super broken. But if you build AD, you lose like half the reason to pick the item, which is the, frankly, insane, like
the random AP ratio that was unnecessary.
Yeah, that is so high. We are probably trading Croc for Dragon.
Ooh, flash comes through. There's a cease and desist as Needlework is coming down. Frog trying to survive. But it's a difficulty. Does at least have a Q as now Satad's going to turn up. Finds a backflip onto, I believe it was his Shroud as perfect execution comes in. He does execute the Vi. The Gwen. The Vi comes down as well, so I guess I would have been right. I was just a little bit ahead of myself as it's a double kill for Satab. And this Akali, 4-1-1 now. Possible win condition here for DRX.
And one thing we haven't really talked about yet that is important to highlight is that one of the original counters to Gwen that we saw when she was at the highlight of the meta was specifically Akali. Because Akali has so much upfront burst that Gwen doesn't actually get to use the amount of skirmishing power that she has. And clearly, we can already start seeing glimpses of it here. Satan has so much upfront burst. Really nice continuation here with the last second of the quickness. Career getting the flash into the taunt to make sure that they actually get the kill. And now Satan, once that Shadow Flame is finished, Vincenzo is basically going to be exclusively relegated to ulting Satan, because if you don't, you probably lose the team fight. Because it doesn't matter if it's Diok, Diablo, or Gucci, like they're getting free tapped by this Akali. But if you ult the Akali,
then Pleta kills you.
Gonna, yeah, exactly. Then Pleta kills you. So we're actually seeing DRX hold on, but I do still feel like Sandbox, with the fact that they have a lot of map control, should be fine here for the foreseeable future. And Gwen will remain powerful even if she doesn't necessarily win the 1v1 against the Akali. A lot of it will come down to fights, and DRX keep within touching distance of Sandbox.
Well, so far, still fine. For Live Sandbox, they still have a lead. They still have the two better Drakes. Of course, DRX, like in game number 1, of course, where they were able to stack up 3 dragons after the first 2 were picked up by Live Sandbox. That might be the case this time, but they're not going to offer nearly as much value as the Infernals did in the first couple of games. It's this Satab guy with his very cool DRX skin that is the one that's going to be that huge problem, like you were talking about. And then, because he's a problem, the Zera becomes a problem. It's really interesting how that kind of works.
Also, I haven't seen this Akali skin lose. We'll get spotted.
True, as the charm comes in, and Satab just gonna have to slink into... Oh, Mega Cone, never mind. As cease and desist comes forward. And now who's trapped in where with who? As the Vi is going to disintegrate into small particles. Same thing to happen here for Korea, who is wondering where all his friends went. They left. Spoiler.
Also, I'm pretty sure that Diablo and Plan B were able to force the flash from Pleta by going in aggressively. I think Ghost Flash offensively might have been the reason why Pleta was forced to use his summoners there. And we will be getting the shove in without Career. The composition of DRX loses so much power. Doesn't really have nearly the same threat. And it will be relatively even trades here as we head into the next Drake fight in about 2 minutes.
It's a nice charm, really good pickup there. Just going off purely the sweeper.
And then obviously the charm is is fine, but then the Everfrost doesn't hit, miscalculating how like the walking path is going to go. And then Career is taken down. More than enough CC available on Rakan once he is actually locked down is very squishy. And we see Saytap in a side lane still though. Doesn't have Shadow Flame done, but look at that. That is an 8-stack Magi's. Saytap going to the absolute menace here.
It's not even a Magi's yet, but I think it might be. Get that many stacks, I reckon. It's all about just committing to the item. And yeah, I'm finding it hard to kind of adjudicate where we're at in this particular game because Live Sandbox is still ahead, and I think that they have a much better late game composition when I see, you know, Frog and Saytab, who are on champions that don't, I don't know, they don't scream scaling to me. Of course, Akali does scale quite well and will be able to match Daehyuk theoretically in that side lane, but I still just don't think that it makes for a clean, concise team fight unless you get the kind of chaos that Akali thrives in. But I feel like that requires a bit of an advantage, and they don't necessarily have it into Live Sandbox, especially when Diablo's kind of a walking meat grinder if he gets ahead.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that in the point in the game where we are now, I think DRX are going to be even in power, and they're going to remain that way for a large amount of time. And then come late game, it comes down to Daehyuk and Diablo versus Pleta. Because like I think once you reach a certain amount of itemization, it actually becomes a lot harder for Akali to have the same impact. Once Diablo has like a GA or a Bloodthirster, actually 100 to 0ing him becomes very, very tough. And then that takes away so much of the threat that Saytab has. Gwen is another example where you can actually, even though defensive AP itemization for characters like Gwen, who ideally would just want to stack as much AP as possible, is kind of lackluster. It really only uses Banshees, which is fine, but not amazing necessarily, particularly not in Gwen that wants so many other things. But that does require Sandbox to actually get to that point. And right now, I think it's even, and it just depends on which team gets the Baron at first, because Sandbox dive is obviously completely insane as Sponge.
Sponge is going to get ulted there, but is just going to lose half of his health bar. Otherwise, he's absolutely fine. Korea finds the backline. Plan B in a bit of trouble. Hook is going to go wide, but Pleta is still just dead. Goody looking for the backline now. As into the backline goes Saytab as well. Manages to execute one, but he's dead now, and Daehyuk is the real carry. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, it is all about the Gwen, as now Korea is running for his life and will actually escape. Able to avoid the charm there quite nicely. But Live Sandbox, they had Baron on the brain.
Shout out to Diablo again. Man, his Aphelios has been great this entire series. And the fact that he snipes Pleta immediately when this is a tankier build for the Zeri as well, it's pivotal because it means that the DPS isn't there. And even with the burst that Saytab is able to do, it's not enough. Baron is going to get taken, and I think Sandbox is about to get the upset here.
Yeah,
Atlas.
They're going to get the win. And we're going to have a look at this fight one more time. I'm going to focus on Diablo a little bit more here.
Watch what happens to Pleta. So the burst, right? The Calibrum, and then...
Oh yeah, he did some buttons.
And crucially, the rest of the team also, I think, not really positioning well around where Pleta was, because if Career and Frog, even if they end up dying, as long as Pleta's alive, he could possibly win the fight. And then obviously the moment that Saytab does his burst, Gwen has also joined, and with Shadow Flame does an incredible amount of damage. And, even if DRX pick up this dragon, like this doesn't matter all that much.
No, basically not at all. As 2 Drakes apiece, but 2 of them on the DRX side are in fact the Chemtech Drakes, so no one really cares. 2,000 gold to lead for the Gwen as well, and she is a legitimate late game threat and will only get better with age as well. Riftmaker done, Shadow Flame done, 2 very color coordinated items. I like that a lot. And Steel Caps completed as well just for the matchup into Frog. Doesn't necessarily help into Saytab all that much, but that is absolutely fine as Goody. He's the one split pushing here on this top side. We got some pings out from DRX wanting to clear out that bottom wave as Saytab's going to get engaged on. This is what we were asking for earlier on. He breaks the stopwatch as Sponge looking to try and get into that backline. Does get some knockups onto the Aphelios, and Diablo, he's out of there, but it means he can't support the rest of his team. Sponge is the one that goes down, and Saytab trying to be the hero, but it does not work, and Diablo will still be able to find it. Over the wall goes Goody, looks for the charm, but he does not get it. Pleta's going to be gifted that kill on a silver platter. Bad news bears there, unfortunately, but still, Liv Sandbox going to be able to break down the base of DRX and look to take this game.
And DRX, the team that has had so many achievements and challenges over like the last 2 years, even though we're not able to win it, were by far the strongest team last year in the regular split in spring. Made it to finals last spring as well. And here we are. Again, wait, they did make it to finals, right? I'm not crazy? Against D+?
Yeah, D+ versus DRX, yeah.
And here we are. They're getting dismantled by a Sandbox. It looks revitalized. Drafts have been looking great. Priority on the right champions. And Diablo, we knew that he was good, but what is really telling to me is how the rest of the team is able to play around in great flash there, and you see the damage just isn't there, right? DRX already pretty far behind. Frog on this Renekton not looking to really have an impact. And, you know, even with Gucci going in, I'd say slightly over-enthusiastic, doesn't matter. They get the kills they need, they get the inhibitor down, and DRX are going to need a miracle or a challenger-esque throw from Sandbox if they want to get a win here.
We'll see whether they can. Man, it really does. You have to think about it over and over again. The fact that players like Diablo are so extraordinarily young.
He's 15.
Yeah. It really does put it into context.
He's 15, man.
Like, think about what's going to happen when he becomes of LCK age. He'll already have so much experience.
Oh, deep TP from Satab.
All right, let's see whether Frog can get into this backline and actually find the Aphelios.
Oh, no.
He is the biggest bad guy, but instead, Frog's just going to waste the ultimate, and Gwen may
TP.
win the game. As that's a teleport out from the Akali. Plan B almost actually catching him out there, as now Liv Sandbox just going to move towards these minions that are already trying to get to work on this turret. Satab finishes off this minion wave, but Cease and Desist is going to come forward there. Sponge going to get charmed up as well as Goody goes golden. Wants to be able to click this lantern, but he isn't going to be able to. That is going to be the kill for Pleta, but Sponge is going to go down as well, followed immediately by Frog, as Diablo is a raid boss. He's an absolute monster on this Aphelios, and now going to push towards this inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. Doesn't exactly have optimal guns for the upcoming team fight, but he's got a lot of items, so he's pretty happy with the whole situation regardless. As Korea and Satab looking to try and stop Daihak, who does have a Banshee's Veil complete. Goes into the mist as Satab is going to be able to find him with a few of these buttons. As Pleta, I don't know whether I would be here if I were you, my friend, but he's still going to survive, at least for now.
But at what cost?
And yeah, Diablo's now got red and white, and so he's just going to eliminate this inhibitor. Vincenzo up here with him, going to help out by just offering a singular punch. When you're Vi and you've got the big fists, you're probably happy just to give it one punch and then walk away. And that's precisely what he does. I think it was the Crescendo that did most of the work there, though, as DRX. They wonder what happened to their house while they were killing a Gwen in a side lane. I could tell them, it fell apart.
Things are not looking good for DRX, and they haven't in this game. They really haven't in this series, right? Even the game which ended up winning, there were a lot of moments that were somewhat questionable, and in game number 2 in particular, Sandbox was really outdoing them as, man, Aphelios. Diablo really showcasing what you can do with good control of the guns on the champion, getting rid perfectly of his purple and blue guns as well, to immediately segment into red-white, which allows him to get the next inhibitor as well. And as mentioned for DRX, Satab's trying. By himself, he's just not going to do enough. And even if Pleta hits that late-game scenario, like the really big problem that a lot of teams face when playing into this area is that, like, how do you actually kill her? But for Sandbox,
there's a few options.
You have a lot of options, but like the easiest one is just press R on Vincenzo. And even if Pleta skates over a wall, you're going to be able to follow with a lot of the other champions, Gucci and Diok both. Although Diok, as he should, is just AFK shoving in bot.
And that's what he was doing on the Jax as well. I actually felt like it was working very nicely for them in game number 2. It was a large reason why DRX kind of fell apart, because they didn't really know how to answer it. And as we can see here, Liv Sandbox getting to work on this Baron, the Gwen just going to back away. Korea gets a ward down, but congrats on on that one.
Uh-oh.
As now they're still going to look for the engage. A little bit of a dash.
Hard force this.
As DRX does get over the wall. Mega Blast Cone going to be available. Interrupted by the Cyclone. That's beautiful. As now DRX should go down. It should be Soul Point, I guess. As, all right, Everfrost's actually doing a fair bit of work. DRX does fall, but the rest of the team are now here. Into the backline goes Satab. He goes golden at the perfect time, avoids the death sentence. Good play to come through here from Plan B, who set up the box to create that play space for Diablo to work with. And he's going to be able to get out of there. And DRX, they do lose Korea, and therefore it is a 1-for-1 with Baron going to Live Sandbox.
And we will now have the inhib in mid-fall. Diablo still very strong.
Ow.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah, the 200 years thing is, it stood the test of time. I wonder whether Aphelios is going to be too strong for 200 years. Maybe he will be. Maybe that'll be the new meme.
That's the prophecy.
You know, like 198 years from now.
We're gonna just have 198 years of B1 Aphelios, and it's just never gonna get addressed. And like,
yeah,
you know how it goes, Atlas. Like you at the beginning you fight it, but eventually,
well, it
just
might even get nerfed for like a couple, like for like 100 years.
No, I don't think it will. That's the beauty of it. Ooh. And like, you know, like everyone will be like complaining about it, but then eventually everyone's like, well,
it'll be like Aurelia. Like everyone will just forget.
Nothing's
that it
gonna
was
change.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna accept it. Remember how we went with just Lee in every single game for like 5 years straight?
That's true.
We're just going to do that again, but then for 200 years. DRX are not throwing this. What? Sandbox is just playing better.
They are.
And Sandbox can still throw this. Let me be very clear about that. This is, after all, greatest league in the world.
And this guy's name's Choke. So I guess, you know, sometimes you really want it to be the way that you're thinking it is, but it's not
possible
all the time. Like, there's always... That's the beauty of League of Legends. There's always two ways to think about any game. You can think about it as a throw. You can think about it as a capitalization. You can think about it as a misplay. You can think about it as opportunistic.
You as a person.
No, absolutely. Whether you see something as bad play means you're a pessimist, because you could always see it like an outplay. And you guys can take that one to the bank. Because if I'm in a bad mood, most of the time, it's misplays. If I'm in a good mood, it's outplays.
Atlas just made me go crazy for a sec. He was released in, what, 2020? Aphelios?
Something like that. I have no idea. I generally refer to Sagex.
2019, really?
2019? Are you kidding? So it's been 4
years?
years?
It probably was like December 2019, because he wasn't at Worlds.
December. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. So basically 2020. That tracks.
Not as insane. And
still,
you know, we're
pretty wild.
We're only halfway into 2023, so it's only been 2.5 years.
It's one of my favorite Twitch comments. Green is now red from my perspective. What?
Green is now red from my perspective.
Are badgers colorblind?
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
That's totally fine. I hope that you enjoy the world with red grass. It's like everything would look like the center of Australia.
Man.
What do you mean?
Like, no, I'm not talking like a nice, like, I get that grass can be like, but actual just straight up red. Like that red.
Yeah, it would be not great. Okay, got an engage. Sponge is dead once again. Why did you pick Wukong? I'm so upset about it. Like, really upset about it. It makes me so mad. Like, that was a misplay. I'm not going to say that Liv Sandbox outplayed him by mind controlling into picking Wukong.
Wukong is the problem!
Yeah.
Says Atlas, shouting from the rooftop.
Yeah. And look, he wasn't, and I think a lot of it was to do with the Sandbox just playing better as they look for the re-engage. Satab will find the Thresh. Goody going to go down as well, though. It's a double. Okay, Satab, are you going to find it? This could sell about 400 skins for Zeka if you get the outplay. Imagine if it was a pentakill.
But no,
they don't go in.
They're holding on.
They are, for now.
They're fine.
Well,
they're living.
Fine is a relative term.
There's 3 inhibs down. You don't generally come back from that. Yeah. But there is a Nexus
They have one turret.
Standing.
Yeah, that's fine, isn't it? One turret. They can never leave their base.
I would maybe call it fine, but I am not a very reliable reliable judge of when things are fine.
Gwethanadolia, old man yells at monkey, newspaper reports. There we go. Elder flip.
And comes down here to the amount of damage that Satab was able to do thanks to the setup from Career. Like, shout out to Career for that, because if he doesn't find that backline, this play doesn't work. Also the immediate response from Flatter to go into the flash ultimate to make sure that all the burst is there. Really good coordination from DRX. Would have been great if they could have showcased some of this at any other point during the game, but that's not going to be the case, and now they have to hold on 30 seconds until the mid inhibitor respawns, and that's going to mean only one super minion per wave, but this should be, for Sandbox, the Baron, and also immaculate setup for the Soul. Soul doesn't really matter.
Nope.
But
getting that 5 minute towards good old, what is it, Exodia?
Or they just try to end the game, which is also fine because they're up 8k gold.
Yeah, and they can push a couple of lanes as well if they'd like to. I mean, they only need a few people to take the Baron.
4 supers and sides, but yeah, I think you just take Nash and not risk it.
Yeah. I mean,
DRX,
the textbook way is generally the way.
Can't RX still? Yes. Don't you worry.
Can RX still win?
Always.
Question mark.
Anything can happen in Challengers.
Yep.
Anything. Within the realms of a normal League of Legends game.
Well, Sponge trying to look for something here.
Yeah,
looking for an angle. Not going to get there. And like you were talking about, yeah, very comfortable Baron into very comfortable Dragon, into very comfortable Nexus, into very silly looking DRX, because they did have a little bit, it was a weird game, but basically what DRX were doing were kind of flexing on Live Sandbox in game one.
Yeah.
And now they're getting pummeled by just a team that is playing better, drafting better. And it is really great to see here by Live Sandbox that they are demanding the respect here from a team that aren't really giving them enough, to be honest.
I agree. It's really cool to see that Sandbox also is just, as you're saying, like, I just like their drafts. They're nothing groundbreaking. They're nothing crazy, but works well together. You have the pick potential. You have a great side laning threat. You have the ability to follow up on your Vi engages. Just a very well-rounded, strong composition. The downside, Satap has Death Cap.
Yeah, he's big.
Has his GA.
Whoa, and flashing, looking to try and get on top of Diablo, but he's still alive and at full health as he flashes his way out. And now the Aphelios dives into the backline, just does whatever he wants. Korea gonna get a decent little knock-up, but it's just a little knock-up. It's not going to save this game. Look at the huge shield. They could not touch this Aphelios. He's just gonna wreck their house, and Live Sandbox will get the reverse sweep in this best of 3.
And Sandbox get it done here. The upset on DRX earned Atlas. Great drafts in all 3 games. In game 1, execution isn't really there. They got shivved.
They did.
But then in game number 2,
they went to the med bay, they got sorted out, and everything was A-OK. That's what happened. Honest day's work is going to pay off in the end. And Live Sandbox, after 3 games, they just do it. They just do the work, and they take home the victory.
And the draft from DRX was one part, but there was also the play. Sponge and Frog not looking at their best today. Frog on the Renexion really not having the impact that we'd like to see from this Crocodile. And I know Dayak did really well, but you know...
Yeah, it's gotta be Dibble Dabble.
It's gotta be Dibble Dabble, the 15-year-old wonder boy.
Mm-hmm. Man, look at that difference in assists as well. 30 extra assists. That's nutty. A little bit of extra team play being done here by Live Sandbox when it was them with a Gwen in a side lane the majority of the time. It's kind of interesting. But they were just able to support their team a little bit more than DRX was able to. It just shows that Satab was so much about how DRX were winning this, but he was going in by himself in order to try and lock down those kills and things like that.
Yeah,
it didn't quite work.
This game is not on Satab. The Akali actually working out well, but top side not getting it done really, and the drafting also has to be questioned here for DRX. And it's interesting because this is very reminiscent of what we see with D+, I think, where sometimes the drafts, like, they go crazy, and you're like, oh my god, it's such a good angle, and then sometimes they go crazy, you're like, why? What? But you
could have picked good champ.
But you just played yourself. What is happening? Suffering from success maybe a little bit is DRX, and Sandbox get a very deserved winner. And with a roster that has players that, like, individually, not every match, but sometimes, like, every few matches perform this well, can be a really big swing for a team like this.
Yeah.
If they're able to get maybe a couple of these back to back.
I really hope that Sponge never plays Wukong again, though. I just really don't like the champion. It's nothing about, like, Sponge was a good Wukong player when Wukong was good, but he's not anymore.
It really feels like, I know that in the LPL it's been like still fairly successful, but to me, Wukong has been nerfed so many times and feels like he just, as you point out, like loses every early all-in, basically without exception.
Yeah.
And a large part of that was also sandbox drafting for a lot of prio, because Zeri Rakan is about as weak as a laning phase gets, and there we go.
There's our boy. Picks it up. That's his first one here for the season as well. As Live Sandbox haven't been doing the most massive amount of winning, which is why as well this is so impressive from this squad, being able to hold it together and take down the second place team from last season in pretty commanding fashion in the last 2 games. Even after getting shivved, they had a shiv wound and they still managed to do it.
It also showcases us again that with how it stands right now in Challengers, there's only one team that's truly ahead of the pack. Hasn't lost a single game, has looked good. And everyone, that's D+. And Sandbox, with this, got to 2 and 3. Everything is still possible. This is exactly the same format as the LCK. If you're new to Challengers, it's just the same. There's no difference. It's a double round robin.
Where's the
best of 3
stat?
I don't know. I'm a little sad we don't get that.
Yeah, and also a bit sad that it's only 998 DPM. Could have been 999 or even 1,000, but we didn't quite get there. Just needed two extra damage. Maybe when
Just
he turns
2.
16, he can do that 2
Yeah,
extra damage.
I think the funniest part is that his damage share is that low just because of the existence of
Gwen.
Yeah.
Yeah, cutting through a crocodile over and over again seems to be the thing. But it's time for you guys to hang out with us.
We're
here
here
in the space station. And if there's anything that you guys want to know about what the Earth looks like from up so incredibly high, is it even called high when we're just in the universe, you know, floating around in space? Because what does height even mean?
I think it depends on your perspective.
Yeah, but
That's
our
what I'm saying,
perspective.
Colin.
But from our perspective, are we looking up, down, around at the world from our spaceship?
I clearly gave a nonsensical answer that's supposed to sound deep. I don't know why you're questioning me. I don't know.
I'm actually interested.
So I would say that
Look out of the window
as
at
a
the planet.
human, generally, unless you've like lived your entire life on a space station or another planet, you're always going to argue that that Earth is your default, right?
Yeah.
But when you're in the spaceship, you'll be looking down on Earth.
Would you? What
I
if
would
you're,
say so.
But what if you're on the
Well,
spaceship
if you're like
and the window's on the roof and
well,
you can
then
see Earth?
you'd be looking up at Earth. But everything would be happening in relation to where you are, which is on a spaceship.
What if there was a sign in the spaceship that pointed up from the ground and it said down on it? Would you then have to be? Would you have to change your perspective to accept that you're actually
why would anyone put a
standing on the ceiling?
So why would anyone put a ship that says?
Well, maybe the gravity generator is misbehaving.
But then why would there be a sign?
I don't know.
What do you
Just
mean,
to
I don't know?
remind people that up is actually the other way. Sorry, we messed it up. Stop walking on the roof.
Yeah, but the whole concept of up doesn't make a lot of sense if you're living in zero gravity.
What? No, I'm not. I'm saying that this is like Star Wars, where they have like artificial gravity.
Yeah, no, but okay, but you're saying that the artificial gravity doesn't work. If you do have artificial gravity...
No, the artificial gravity does work. It's just upside down. It's upside down gravity. Would, in that case, would you be actually looking down if the sign says down?
You're breaking me, man.
We've really got through a lot of this time, though.
Oh,
and
my
I'm really
God.
glad that we had this
So,
conversation.
I think you're looking at a sign that says down.
Oh, I'm currently in my garden waving up at you guys, or are you waving down at us? That's the question. Where's the sign that says which direction we're at? How can gravity be upside down? That is a very good question. That is a very good question, Johnny. Thank you so much. What did the count get to? Did we even get there?
There's a lot of thinking behind that. You know what the beautiful thing is that the line between thinking very deeply about something and not at all is often indistinguishable.
Very slim. Very, very slim. Ooh, we look a little bit green today. Are we getting greener? What's going on here? Ooh, do you feel a bit green?
No.
I'm actually feeling quite well, so...
Can you cancel the next game and we just sit here and chat? Thank you, T1 Chronicler. Yeah, it's one.
We can. We could theoretically do that.
We could. Ghoulish.
persona?
Oh.
Ghoulish, indeed.
Oh.
It's a bit of a Smeagol skin color that I've got going on. You know, it's like just got that little tinge of zombie.
How's your Schmeagol impression?
Not that great. No, I think after a full sitting of like all 3 Lord of the Rings films,
It's better.
it's okay.
Vampires, that works. I mean, if anyone, Atlas definitely at times I'm like, you could be a vampire.
I am often awake at night.
Well, I think.
We did walk here during the day in the sunlight, though. So
well, I know you're not a vampire, but like out of us,
I think maybe it's Valdez though. No, it's Seth.
It's definitely Achilles,
it's definitely Achilles because he's almost translucent. He's a quite light, a fair-skinned gentleman. Atlas plays Genshin. He's definitely a vampire.
AI vampires.
I think I'd be a hemomancer before I'd be a vampire.
You a Vladimir fan?
I like Vladimir a lot. I think his puns are fantastic.
He's funny for
I like the idea of pooling
maniac.
our efforts.
There's no glitter on the skin. We're not sitting in sunlight, chat.
If you're a vampire, you cannot answer what's your garlic. No, then your garlic would be no garlic.
Yeah.
Your garlic would be no. Yeah, that would be their garlic. Show us how you sparkle, Atlas.
Because we can't go outside.
Yeah, it's the balance of the light, but I've got my sparkle on. My sparkle
he doesn't
should be
sparkle.
Here.
Don't
I do sparkle.
No,
what are
you don't.
Talking about?
I can't see your sparkle.
Wow. Well, his eyes need checking. I sparkle. Okay.
So Gollum's counterpart is Atlas.
Gollum's counterpart
Does Gollum have a counterpart?
It was Bilbo in The Hobbit.
Yeah, and I guess
For a
Frodo in Lord of the Rings.
Did you play the video game?
I've heard it's truly atrocious.
Yeah, I like it. These days, though, like games are getting cancelled. You know, like it's like the Me Too movement against video games now, and like developers need to send out apologies for like their video games
because their games are so bad.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's not. It's just angry fans. No, I think that makes sense.
Well, I mean,
I think they've always been that.
They don't even have to be fans. When a game's that atrocious and they're trying to sell it for $70, I'd just be mad about it existing. To be perfectly honest.
Do you wear the suits on the way to work? So when we arrive at the studio, we wear our own
changed.
clothing, but then we get changed and we walk, in the suits. Yeah.
Yeah. The suit's definitely it fits in an odd way.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a tent.
I'm ambivalent, but I'm very high maintenance when it comes to clothing. So I'm not really a good representation of.
That's true. If it's not a turtleneck, it's not good enough. That's generally the chronicler way.
I really am not that into turtlenecks.
Well, if you're into turtlenecks at
all,
it's
too much. Yeah.
You've stepped across the line, and it doesn't matter like whether you're waist deep or neck deep in the ocean. You're still wet. You've still done it. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not that guy. Although, I'm a big Quickshot fan. He pulls off a turtleneck every now and again. I don't know what it is.
This is turtleneck slander. Oh, Atlas.
Yeah,
Atlas
I'm just truly against it.
He really doesn't like them.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments was, I don't know if we talked about this on air before, when you remember, you know what I'm going to be talking about, right?
No, I think so. I may have forgotten. Yeah.
We were out, and Atlas was saying, you know what the worst is? Already knowing that, like, I sometimes wear a turtleneck, right? It's like, you know what the worst outfit is? Like, everyone who wears this is a complete jerk, is a turtleneck, and... like what do you call them? The trousers, the specific corduroy pants.
Yeah.
My God, you can't wear that without being an absolute. And then he swore.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was like, look at me, Atlas. I was wearing that exact outfit. It's so funny. Actually, as a matter of fact,
by design or not? Oh, he's got his cords on today.
But these are nice though, no? Like these are more casual.
They're cords, dude. Like, I don't know. Do you actually want my opinion on?
I mean, you can give your opinion. I like them a lot.
Yeah, no, I think you pull it off. I think you pull it off. I think it suits you.
Yeah, that's all you need. It doesn't matter.
Isn't that just Archer's outfit? I think it is actually.
I am a big Archer fan. Yeah. Rude. No, that's just.
I think it's actually just the fact that I couldn't pull it off. I just can't pull it off. I'm just not quite there. I need jeans and a black T-shirt. Otherwise, I just look like a moron. basically.
I don't think that's true at all. I think you're way too harsh on yourself. But you know, we're all
No,
the clothing that we're comfortable with.
That's my uniform. That's how it goes.
Chronicler, where do you get your shirts from? So it's a mix of, I really like Scotch and Soda, Dutch brand, and then also just, I don't know, markets.
If it's
random
good Scotch, though,
places.
you wouldn't do that to a good Scotch.
I don't drink Atlas, and you know this.
I know, but
It's
like
the brand.
Scotch and soda, it does give me anxiety. Like, imagine if it's like a really nice one.
Can't relate.
Hui, that would be very sad. Very, very sad. But you know what it's time for? It's time for us to discontinue commenting. So we will go to a short break. When we get back, the final series of the evening. We'll see you there.